Hello, everybody, I can't talk. Welcome to Thursday, yes, and welcome to a live stream. We have stuff today to do, to learn, to fly, and hopefully not break. I'm here with the cat. She was putting me off, lads, you know. Brilliant, got a new t-shirt as well. Fantastic. Things are looking up. I had a busy morning, and we're back at it now. Let me out headset. So today we're going to be doing part 2 of our introduction tutorial series on the iniBuilds L-1011 TriStar. This machine is just deadly, and we need to figure out how can we, fly it. Thankfully, iniBuilds have done a lot to help us. The automatic kind of flight engineer, and we can kind of import flights now. And we're on version 1.05, which just got released. So lots to be checking out with this one. So we're on the ground here at Shannon. We'll plan a flight over to Dublin. And we'll see how this machine goes. A little bit later on, then, we're going to be previewing tonight's Vatsim flight, where we fly the A320 from Tromsø over to Svalbard. So looking forward to that one as well. Hope you're all keeping well. Currently 11 degrees in Tipperary. The man with the van has arrived, and I've my new NAS. Now, I've no hard drives for it, but it lives over there in the corner. When it's all set up, I'll show you. But it's a fancy old machine now. It's the Ugreen, what is it? A Ugreen DPX 4800 Pro, no less. That's the NAS that I went for. And what we have with it, we'll have four 4TB drives. I'll put them in RAID 5 configuration, meaning one can fail, right? So we'll have about 10 terabytes, which is kind of what I usually use anyway for a NAS. And then it also has an i3 processor with 32 gigs of RAM, no less. So my plan is, I'll be running Docker for all our bots and stuff on Discord, but I'm also hoping we can get our truck servers and whatever else is needed onto that as well. So loads of scratching the head moments and trying to figure out how things work, you see. But it's all go, lads. So hope you're having a great day. And as I said, a bit of learning on this one. We have the official manual from iniBuilds. We also have a manual that we got from Naughty Gnome. We're going to be having a look at both. So Gar Gaming is here. Top of the morning to you, buddy. Happy Thursday. Spitfire RAF 100 is in the chat. Good morning to you, man. Uniform Goose, good day, Goose. Cardiac Splash is here. AJH. Simming Sav, good morning. The Limbics, howdy from over there. Kyoto. He says, down with man flu. Oh, Jesus, have you got the man flu? You poor old devil. Do you know what'll solve that now? Right. A copious amount of whiskey, hot, well, warm. Then have a very hot shower. Sweat it out of you and go to bed. And you'll be 100% the next morning. I'm just saying, that's how we do it. But feel better soon, buddy. Naughty Gnome is here, 25 in a row, live from a beach in Barbados. Not jealous at all. No, not at all. Hope you're having fun, buddy. Crafty Tigers is here, good morning. 98 Vulcan, you're very welcome aboard. Thank you for 25 in a row. Cheers, man. Mrs. TPHI, she's up before her breakfast. Good morning. From, the inverted land. Where she's upside down. It's good to see you, missus. Hope you're well. Homewreckers in the house. Happy Thursday. Filthy is here. Good morning. Eamon, 1973. Very good morning to you, Eamon. Hope all is well in Newcastle. Angry B, good morning. Hope you're keeping well. Quokka is in the house. And Crafty Tigers, thank you very much indeed for 115 streams, buddy. What a ledge. Oh, we've Aircraft with us. Who else is here? Look, Mr. 90, good morning. The Boise is in the house. Full-on lurking mode this morning. Excellent. Tamal, thank you very much indeed. 21 months. Thank you very, very much. Hope you're well. Norse Viking, how are you? Homewrecker says, Murph, I was watching your F1 stream earlier. Very good. I found myself tilting my head on every corner. Yes! Did you see me? I had one only for my shoulder. Yeah, right. Sporting injury that I got in the Battle of the Garden, in the year of 26. But yes, it's good old crack, isn't it? Dazza T. Arab is here. Good to see you, Dazza. Hope you're well, buddy. I'm Pierce is in the house. The Forgetful Larry is here. Right on time, Larry. Go on yourself. Hope you're well, buddy. Willow, how much? Welcome aboard. Tier 1 for 30 months. Thank you very, very much indeed. And then to add even more calamity, 100 bits. Willow, thank you very much indeed. Hope you're well, bud. Just Roy is in the house. Good to see you, Roy. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome in. Max Stallion is here. Good to see you. And now it's kind of busy. This is great. Good morning, everyone. And as I say, when we're doing these daytime streams, there's no real kind of a structure. Our nighttime streams, well, it's we have to take off, we have to fly, we have to do, it'd be busy. However, our daytime, it's all kind of chill, relaxed. So if you have any questions relating to the sim or an aircraft, hardware, whatever it is, feel free to ask. Do you know, if I can give you the right answer, I will. If I don't know the answer, I'll make up something, but I'll make it sound convincing. Murphy's, it must be right. Yeah. Do you know? So we'll see what happens.
Hello?
Now, where's this now? How do we pronounce this? Is it Obsaful Gaming? You're very welcome aboard. Good to see you. Johnny Mon is in the house. Good morning, Johnny. Hope you're well, buddy, and I hope you had a great day in work. Gary Moore is here. Good morning, buddy. From Australia as well, Gary. Come on yourself. Welcome in, buddy. Welcome in. Where is this now? I thought my Twitch was banjaxed earlier, but no, it was just me. Right. Should be grand. Let me see. Stu Snape is in the house. Lurking quietly. Right. Lurking quietly. We'll say nothing to no one. She'd be grand. Let me see here. Memphis Don is in the house. Good morning. Hope you're well, buddy. Cornwolf is here. Hope you're well. Captain McCoy. Good to see you. Yeah, Cornwolf, you were looking for the OWL update for the ATR. They've delayed them for a little bit. Do you know? So we'll have to wait and see. Noddy says, I have a question. How does the bleed air system work on the L-1011? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. We're going to figure that one out today, because I don't know, but we'll see, right? But yeah, Captain McCoy, great to see you, bud. Alson is here as well. 17 months, Alson. Thank you very much indeed, buddy. Good morning. Hope you're well. Heisenberg, good morning. Jesus, you're all up very early in America. Do you know, do you just go to bed early or something? Heisenberg, it must be like, what, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning? He's an early riser, but that's, I was up before you. Oh, I got clothes done. What you do? Shh. I think I'll take an MD-11 over the L-1011. At least I know how to fly it. I know, but we're going to learn this, Larry. We're going to learn this. Where are you after? It's 6:10 in the morning, says Mrs. TPHI. That's very early, though, isn't it? Right. Febro is in the house. Good morning. Hope you're well. It's 6 o'clock for Heisenberg. Naughty Gnome, 6 o'clock for you as well. It's morning. Do you know? For a lot of people, it's early morning. 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, come on. Naughty, you're in your holidays. What are you doing up at 6 in the morning? It's holidays. Then again, I suppose you want to be kind of out and about and going everywhere. It's noon for Febro. See, noon. And then we've our Australian friends where it's nighttime. Positively nighttime. So yeah, it's all go. 6 a.m. with Crafty as well. Jet lag is real. Do you get jet lag going that way? Usually you get it coming back the way, yeah. It's lunchtime in Sweden, says Captain McCoy. What's for lunch? What do you have for lunch in Sweden? You have Swedish meatballs. Right. And what's going to be for breakfast to our friends over, in America? I'd like to know these things. It keeps us informed. You're right. But anyway, yeah, busy one this morning, as I said. Postman came and we had deliveries and all the stuff. So, yes, the NAS system, I'm very much looking forward to getting that up and running. And there's a lot of head scratching with it. We currently use a VPS, so it's a virtual machine out the back of beyond somewhere. And I'm looking forward to seeing, can we get this up and running? Do you know? Lunch here in Sweden. Yes. Smashed potato and meatballs. Ooh, nice. Jeez, that sounds lovely. Let me see. Coffee for breakfast. Good shout. Mr. T, and is Mr. TPHI, what time is he in work now? Crazy. Now let me see. Just Roy, thank you for 15 in a row. He says, at the moment, I'm into 3D Max. Ooh, is that for X-Plane? The 3D Max stuff used to be very good. But yes, Max is in the house. Good day, Max. Hope you're well. Surviving 101 morning. It's 5:11 in the morning and I've been up all night working. Oh, Jesus, really? He's awake having a coffee. And does he get you a coffee? Maybe you should get him a coffee. And some Danish. And there's a breakfast. Coffee and Danish? Yes. Or those toucan, do you know the little Danish fellas? But they're like, they're lovely. They're very nice. One Foxy Bingo Gav is here. Good to see you, buddy. Murph, I added you as me cabin crew. Oh, dear. Make sure you have a cabin crisis. I'm great crack under stress. Great crack. But anyway, where's this now? Which NAS system? Roy, it's a DPX 4800 Pro. We'll have 4 4TB drives, 32 gigs of RAM. Ooh, As I said, it's going to a lot of it is going to be using Docker. I'll run the bots and then we'll see can we get some trucking servers on it and see what else we can do with it. You know what I mean? I'm having a waffle with me coffee. Ooh, a waffle. That's like a Belgian waffle. That could be nice, Heisenberg. Did you have it on its own or do you put something on it? You know what I mean? But yes, where are we at now? Let me see. Waffle. Oh, waffles are good, lads. Waffles are good. Energy drinks and coffee. Surviving 101. That works. Yes. Yes. I'll have a coffee, please. With Red Bull. Huh? People put coffee in the Red Bull. People put Red Bull in their coffee. It's a brave new world out there. Know that I have a TrueNAS configured with two 4 terabytes configured and an old i7. I was going to go the PC route and just build like a bit of a server. And then I said, well, look, if I'm running, well, I could have ran Linux or something. But yeah, I know I went with the NAS just for backup to backup to backup and all this stuff. So no, I'm looking forward to it. Not, I'm trying to change my lights to teal. The bot isn't working very well this morning. PGM is here. Good morning. Hope you're well. Yeah, so I'll see. As I said, I have the RAM and the hard drives are due out to me on Monday or Tuesday next week, and I have a busy week next week. So my plan is hopefully I can get that done on Tuesday, if I can, and get everything set up. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted for sure, 100%. So we're going to have a look at this machine here, and we'll kind of continue on where we were 2 weeks ago. That was our first introduction into the aircraft. And in terms of getting it from cold and dark, somewhat set up, aligning the INS, or, all that jazz, taxi, takeoff, fly the Divil, and then land it. I haven't done any of that yet. We took off, but I haven't landed. So we're going to try that now today. Arriving into Dublin. So I turned off live weather, but I might turn it back on. We'll see. But we're live time there at the moment. So we'll see what the crack is, right? I have 13 terabytes and hard drives hanging off the PC. What? Really? So I have a drawer. My third drawer. Is it? Yeah. That third drawer is just hard drives. They're old hard drives now. They're anything from Seagate to... They're mainly Seagate, and they were all USB hard drives, just external hard drives, anything from 2 terabyte up to 6 terabytes, and they're grand, but they're old, meaning that it's the data transfer rate is shockingly slow. I used to use them for X-Plane for all the ortho scenery, you see, and as I said, with the newer stuff, with that NAS, with that 4800 Pro, it comes with a 10 gig port. And I have a 10 gig switch, meaning I run 10 gig between all my computers and my network. So it's quite fast. And then a fairly beefy internet. I have a 5 gig connection fiber. And I actually get 5,000 down. I only get about 200 up. Do the maths there, right? But that's what we use. Where's this now? Limbic says, almost 2 years ago, turned my old sim PC into a NAS running TrueNAS, 21 terabytes plus 64 gigs of RAM, a Ryzen 3950 and a 5700 GPU for offloaded tasks. Stores photos, self-host your music and books and backups. Jace, that's fantastic. Limbics, that's a savage setup. Roy says, I used to have these old hard drives, made a big mistake to use the old hard drives in a RAID, but the system didn't like that. Ooh, RAID configuration, yeah. They just don't like it at all. But yeah, that's a great setup, lads. 164K is enough for anyone, right? Checking in to keep the stream streak going. Good man, Malky. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Meatballs and mash. Sounds like you're at IKEA. Sounds lovely though, Gary, doesn't it? Meatballs and mash. Very Swedish, isn't it? But yeah, so I'll see. I'm very interested to see kind of how it performs and what extra capability it can bring. As I said, like the likes of hosting servers, that's the main thing I want to be able to do in terms of our 2 trucking servers. JoinFS, we're probably going to disband JoinFS. We're not using it. Unify is there, and also it's mainly going to be groupie with Say Intentions. They're Skynet, and the multiplayer seems to be working better. So I'm not too worried there, I can probably offload a lot of the website onto it as well, and maybe have some, I don't know, I'll think of stuff. I do want to get Home Assist on it. Have that running properly, because I have Home Assist up and running, but like I'm not happy the way I have it running. It's on a mini PC in my living room, and it's grand, but like, So I definitely want to do more. And then I have a ton of stuff to do. I've been busy around the house. I have a ton of stuff to do with the garden. So I did a bit of hedge clipping the other day, and it's just looking at the garden of how do I solve this one. I have to run cables. So I'm after getting one of these external power boxes. Basically, it's just a long extension lead in a box, right? So I have, in the kitchen, you have an extractor fan. So I'm going to run the wire out through the extraction fan and then, run the wire around the back of the house, and that'll give me plugs out there. That's the first bit of the jigsaw. The second bit of the jigsaw, that will put power into me shed, which I do have a light out there. So I need to then clear out the shed. And those of you on Patreon, well, you saw the state of my shed, right? I did a video of me walking around my shed. So I have to set up like a bit of a workshop or something out there, because I have to do a lot of work with the garden. I want to concrete a lot of places, cut back the hedges, tidy up the grass, do all these kind of things. And then on top of all of that, I have a vent. So you see this extractor pipe thing business going on here, just behind me, right? It's above the say intention sign. That's an exhaust for an aircon unit, which is a mobile aircon unit, which is, it's out in the hall, right? And what I want to do with that, the vent on the outside of the house, it's steel, and it's kind of open, but it's pretty much closed. And the problem is it can't exhaust properly, so the heat backs up and then it overheats the aircon unit. So I need to take the yoke off the wall and put some sort of an extraction system in there. Maybe a small little fan that's kind of pulling the air out. That's the plan. I've lots to do. We'll see what happens. It's all fun and games, lads. It's all fun and games, PGM says, NAS are great. Been using them for 20 odd years. No way. Let me see. Winter Ride is here. Good morning. It's Ireland. Insulate those power leads or stick them under the turf. Yeah, well, it's going to run the side of the house. And it's outdoor cable, so it should be fine. It should be fine. Like, I'm not going to be powering and mad off it. It just means if I need to plug something in and I can run lights, that kind of stuff, the odd power tool, that, nothing major. So I don't need to have kind of hard wire out in the garden, you see. But I want to get all that kind of sorted, because the weather's getting nicer now, you see, and the grass has to be cut and all this sort. I was going to buy a robot lawnmower. Jesus, Gibbo kept sending me pictures. He's like, Murph, they have them here. I was like, right. So I don't know. I'm not ready for the robot lawnmower yet. There's a new nice aircraft on the PS5 marketplace. Bought it yesterday, called the Archangel. Ooh, that's on the marketplace. Nice. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's based on the Archangel. Is that based on the Blackbird, isn't it? Is that the one? No? I think it is. But yeah, it's all a go. There's loads happening, and then we have our content, all of this stuff. VR stuff to do, the rig stuff to do. I've so very little room in here, so I need to kind of start figuring out, hence the garden. Can't put much in the shed unless, like, I can do what Airnot did with his shed, insulate it, reinforce it, possibly do something there. But yeah, A12 rather than a Blackbird. Oh yeah, the A12, that was the earlier model, wasn't it? Yes. But yeah, because I saw what Airnot did with his shed. That's a great setup he has. But I don't know, like a wooden shed, putting PCs in it, in Ireland, especially with the weather, like you'd need to do all sorts of dehumidification and all the jazz, Roy says, luckily you don't have an apartment. It's hay fever. Oh yeah, hay fever time indeed. Yeah, the code name was Archangel. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, it's an awesome aircraft. But yeah, so there's loads to be doing. I'll keep up to date with what I'm at anyway. You know me, lads. I'll keep talking about it until you get bored of it. But the NAS is the first thing anyway. That's the first bit of the jigsaw. Get that up and running. And that means I can shut down that VPS, because it's about it's 44 euros a month every month. So I was saying, well, hang on a second, the NAS will pay for itself in about a year. You know what I mean? So, and the NAS and the VPS that I'm using, it's not great. Like I have to restart it every 48 hours. That's why you see all the alerts coming through on Discord, like the bots turned off and the servers restart, because it's clear the RAM. So I said, right, we'll do it this way. So anyway, let's see what the crack is. Shall we jump into it? We'll go in and have an old gawk and see what's happening over here. Tamal says, my CTDs may be related to Flow Pro, uninstalled and installed a fresh one, and you've just done a 2-hour flight. Ooh, nice. What's the cat's name? Angry Bee asks. Our cat's name is called Cat. We called her Cat. For handiness sake. Hecklack, good to see you, man. Hope you're well, buddy. Stu is going back to work. See you tonight. Stu, take it fierce handy now. And I mean fierce handy, you know. Murph, if you don't mind me asking, you said you have a very good net connection. Can I ask with whom? It's with Air Home Wrecker, and it's 50 quid a month. So 50 euros a month. Air has a 5 gig fibre connection, which is brilliant. The download speed is absolutely insane. The upload speed isn't as good though, but it's twice as what I had. I can push up about 240. It's mad. Some people can get like a gig up and a gig down. So it's just weird. But anyway, it's so far it's been bulletproof. And like the way I have 2 internet lines here for redundancy. And I now have a UPS for stuff, and I have a battery for me MacBook. And next week I need to do some testing with the MacBook to see can I actually stream from it running the sim into the Mac to see what happens. So I'll need to see what happens. It's going to be a busy week, lads, for sure. Roger, I have a 500 meg with Virgin. Yeah. Like as I said, like I've a 5 gig connection with Air. I've a 1 gig connection with Vodafone. So I have 2 lines coming in. Which might be a stupid question. What's a NAS? Not a stupid question. RDA. A NAS is network access storage, or network added storage. Basically, it's hard drives that can be shared on a network, either your own local network inside your house or office, or you can access it through the internet or your phone or a laptop or whatever. Attached. There we go. Thanks, lads. So it's network attached storage. And where these kind of earn their money, if you find yourself spending a lot with cloud, right? As in, maybe you've Google Cloud, maybe you've OneDrive, and, you're using far more than what they offer, so you now go onto the paid tiers. They're low enough prices. They range from like $1.99 a month or €1.99 a month. But then if you want more, they start going up. I think it's quite good with Microsoft at the moment with their Office. So that's like $100 a year for all Office, and they give you 2 terabytes of OneDrive storage. That's kind of handy. But yeah, it's, as I say, like for the amount of work that I do in terms of, videos, researching all the add-ons, organizing all the add-ons, everything lives local on each machine, which is grand. But I just want to have a better system that I can say, right, look, I can actually get like OBS assets to be drawn directly from the NAS. So it's a better way of controlling it. Therefore, if you do have to change your hardware and all this business, there's no impact. You're not worried about, oh, Jesus, I need to grab this file or grab that, or, you know what I mean? Plus, the NAS can do other things. Apart from just general storage, there's other things it can do. It can create VPNs. It can do added security. It can be a media center. So if you have your house, your TV on Wi-Fi, or it's all linked in together, you can put all your movies, put all your photos, and you can share it with other people. They're class. Like, they are very good. Gibbo got me onto them ages ago, and I did a bit of exploring with them, and yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. I tried that, but the chaps came out to fit the gear and said you're never going to get that, and they recommended 500 megs. It depends a lot on your location, Homewrecker, but best thing to do is just ask them. Put in your air code, they'll tell you what speed you're going to get. Ireland is Ireland, so you have like the national broadband plan where they went out and put the infrastructure in, and then you had all the other private companies coming along saying, we'll connect you. So you were already connected. So they were just charging you for stuff that shouldn't be charged for. We'll read about this in years to come, because the government paid for the infrastructure to be put in, and then private companies went out and charged people to connect them, even though the government paid for it already. So they were charging us twice, kind of thing. But that's Ireland, Murph, imagine they brought this plane back into service. Max, wouldn't it be amazing? Like, economically, it just wouldn't work, but like, man, what a way to go. And even chatting to people who actually flew on the TriStar, everyone I've spoken to who flew on, or they flew a TriStar, beautiful, beautiful aircraft. Absolutely loved it. Chalks, good morning. Hope you're well. I have a NAS, bloody great, because our phones auto upload all photos and stuff once in the house. Yeah. And that's the huge advantage. Huge advantage. Static Dash says we would love a video on how to use the sim on PC and stream to Mac using OBS. Yeah. So you need a bit of hardware. Well, technically you don't, but I will use a bit of hardware to do that, Static. So what I'll use a capture card connected to the Mac. I'll output the sim from the PC into said capture card, and then the Mac will just show what's being captured and put it on a screen. I'll go through it all. I'll mess around with this next week with capture cards and stuff, and hopefully the Mac can do it now, but it'll be worth a test. Definitely worth a test, you know. It needs a lot of configuration, but at the end of the road, it'll benefit you. You can ditch cloud subs from the big tech. Yeah. Overall, like your iPhone backups or your phone backups, you know the way your phone says, oh, we can't download the latest update because you've no memory left. And then they want you to buy more cloud off them. Like, that's how they do it, right? But with a NAS, you can absolutely do it yourself. And you're in control of your own data. So to a lot of people, that's very important, you know. So no, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's capable of doing. As I said, like it's way more powerful than the NAS that I currently have. And that's done pretty much everything I wanted it to do, and it still works, you know. But in terms of an upgrade, and you know, the justification where I'm saying, listen, I'm spending the bones of, you know, almost $600 a year on a VPS. Let's bring it all back inside and get it to do more, you know. Mr. TPHI, I was enjoying the sunrise and coffee. You're very welcome aboard. Good day to you, sir. Hope you're well. But yeah, no, it'll be. I'll go through all the jazz when I'm setting it up and streaming from the Mac. Like, it's not going to be this level because, well, it could be, but like, the Mac is designed for travel, as in that's my studio when I'm out and about. And actually have a gig. I got an email last night, so I'm actually going to be streaming on the 23rd of May on Saturday. Gamerfest is on once again in Dublin in the RDS, and GG Machines are up there, and they asked me would I come up and do a bit of streaming. So we'll do a daytime stream. So if I can do a test next week, can I run the sim, put it through a capture card, and we're live and we can have a flight together? That's ideal, you know. So that's what I have to do. But anyway, we now go into this machine. And of course, we're here with the iniBuilds L-1011. So what we did last week, as I said, it was very much kind of just a quick introduction on the aircraft itself, right? But what we wanted to do now is focus a little bit more when it comes to the nav options and also the autopilot, in particular the autopilot, because, well, that's going to be doing all the heavy lifting as we're flying, you see. So we do have the manual here. This is available over from the iniBuilds forums. So what we have, we're going to be learning a little bit about our autopilot, which is important, right? So we have our kind of general setup, limitations, and so on. Then we have our main panel. Then we have our overhead panel. And then we have our center console. And then we have the flight engineer station. Flight engineer station is broken down into the upper panel and the lower panel. So there's quite a bit to watch in this, right? Then we have other controls. We also have our paper flight bag. We have a number of different panel states, aircraft options. Again, we'll go back through all of that just to make sure we're up to date with it. But the main thing I want to look at is going to be that of the autopilot. And I need to figure out the bleed air system. All right. So let's have a look. We'll go down here now to autopilot. So the cockpit controls, they have this terminology with the TriStar. They'll say latched or unlatched, right? So latched means that whatever the switch has, or it's been pushed in. That's what they mean by latched. And you'll see LCH if it's pushed in. Unlatched is the out position, UNL. So latched is in, unlatched is out. That's the bit of thinking we need to do. Some switches have flow bars, right? So that's like a three-way switch, flow, right? And they're down as FB. So we just need to be aware of that. Now, the air conditioning system, it provides complete control to the temperature of the cockpit, cabin, cargo holds, and electronic centers. Air is supplied by the pneumatic system via 3 packs, temperature control system, and a hot air distribution system. We need to focus on the bleed air system as well. So the controls for this, the flight engineer upper instrument panel houses the engine bleed control and the cabin temperature control. All right. So we have our duct overhead lights, illuminates to indicate the overhead temperature upstream. Engine high pressure valve switches, they control the engine high pressure air bleed system into the ejector. The ejector mixes high and low pressure air to achieve the required system demand, right? So if it's unlatched, it means the valve is closed If it's latched, that's the normal position. The flow bar illuminates to indicate that the valve is open. All right. Then we have the engine isolation valve switches. They regulate the bleed air from the engine into the pneumatic manifold. This is what we need to focus on. The engine isolation valve switches, right? If it's unlatched, the valve is closed. If it's latched, that's the normal position. Then we have the duct pressure indicator. The fuselage isolation valve that connects or isolates engine 2 APU bleed B2 ATM to the cross bleed manifold. So the fuselage isolation valve switch that connects air or isolates it between engine 2, the APU is ran from there, and also the B2 ATM. Now cross bleed valve switches, they connect or isolate pneumatic manifolds, grand. Our pack flow control switches, fairly straightforward, on or off. And then we have a turbine bypass valve and ram air door position indicator. And that indicates the position of the turbine bypass and also the ram air door position. There is a RAT, I believe, on this aircraft, a ram air turbine. We'll get into that later on. But ram air is effectively air that comes from outside. That's the ram air, that pressured air, right? Pack auto manual switches, grand. Pack manual control, cool and warm switches. Again, that's to do with temperature, so that's all fine. The hot air isolation, grand. Ground control permits faster warm up of cold soaked aircraft. Okay. Overhead heats, zone trim switches. That's all grand. Then we have the ECS. Now your ECS is environmental control system, right? So that's where you'll see your cabin temperature, the ECS temperature, what packs you're using, is a cool air, and then you have access to your avionic air systems then as well, right? We got the Aer Lingus TriStar before GTA. We did. Commander Balosh, good to see you. Just tested it with Cloudflare. Download is 783. Upload is only 93. Yeah. It's nuts. So the pack flow indicator, that's all grand. One thing that's interesting here is part 6, the avionics airflow. Illuminates when the airflow is restricted in the ventilation duct, if it's on overboard or low flow. Cargo heat switches, they're all fine. Pressurization, we do have some auto sets on this, but this is where you'll be setting the pressurization for the cabin pressure. Basically, as you climb, right, you need to be increasing the cabin pressure, right, because it's to withstand the pressure from outside, naturally. And if you get it wrong, well, hypoxia and all these things can set in. A lot of this is going to be automatic. You do have various warnings as well. There's safety valves. You can blast out you can depressurize it. You've all these kind of things, right? Something as well, even as flight simmers, we don't often see it, but approaching a pressurized aircraft to open a door, it is so incredibly dangerous. Like, it'll kill you. You know, if you try to open a door and inside the aircraft is pressurized, it'll blow you out of it with the air pressure. So there's actually a lot of visual aids on the doors from the inside out and also the outside looking in. One of the checks, in fact, with an Airbus A320, as you approach the door, there's a little flag in there, a little plastic flag, a little actuator, and that'll show you if it's pressurized or not. Now, but anyway, we have our cabin pressure. We'll learn more about these systems over time. Like the ideal thing with this is once we're kind of comfortable that we can get the aircraft into action, get it to follow, navigation with our autopilot. It's when you're in the cruise, particularly on a longer haul, this is where you can start diving into these systems just to learn a little bit more, because you'll actually see them in operation. Do you know what I mean? So we don't need to get bogged down too much at the start, but we just need to be aware of it and have an idea of what the systems are, do you know? So ice and rain protection, wing anti-ice, engine anti-ice, they're all running off your pneumatic systems, and then you have your probe and windshield, they're all working off your electrical systems, all right? And we can see where those are. So this is your windshield, and then you have your air data sensor. They're your probes, captain side, first officer side, and so on. All right. Kubi, good morning, buddy. Hope you're well. Over here, then, we have the ducts for engine anti-ice. Auto manual, tested auto manual. Again, don't need to worry about those just yet. Wipers, grand. Rain repellent, we don't need to use. I've read in so many places that rain repellent caused savage damage to the paintwork and the seals and all this. So a lot of airliners didn't want you using it, or airlines, do you know? The auto flight. This is our bread and butter for today's lesson. The auto flight. The Avionics Flight Control System, or AFCS, provides automatic control throughout the whole flight. And it consists of the following. It has an autopilot and a flight director system. That's familiar to us, right? Flight director, that'll show you your pitch and latitude requirements. We have speed command and auto throttle system. Okay, so we speed command and an auto throttle. Auto throttle, we know what an auto throttle is. Set the throttle, that's where she'll want to go in terms of speed. But then we have speed command, possibly power settings. And then we have our stability augmentation system, SAS, right? So the autopilot flight director switch or system consists of two independent computers, computer A and computer B. Now, computer A is associated with the captain side, and computer B is associated with the first officer side. Think of Boeing, where you have command A and command B. It's kind of similar, right? On Airbus, autopilot 1, autopilot 2. You have two different channels. It's kind of similar, right? So they're the main ones we want to watch for. Now, the autopilot flight director system has two separate modes of operation. One is control wheel steering, and the other is command. The control wheel steering, or CWS, in this mode, the aircraft pitch and roll are kept constant by the autopilot flight director system, with the aircraft automatically trimming to maintain the set target. In order to change pitch or roll, the pilot must apply the desired input in the control column without having to apply trim, and when the input is released, the aircraft will hold the new attitude. Effectively, it's almost like you have to manually pitch or roll, engage the autopilot, and it'll hold you there. It's almost like a hold feature, right? The mode can be thought as a set and release mode. Set the desired attitude and let go of the control. The CWS mode will then do what is required to keep this new attitude stable. Anyone used to flying Airbus, very similar with fly-by-wire. When you're taking off in an Airbus and you pitch, the aircraft tends to hold that pitch. If you're in a Boeing, that's where you can hear the wheel, the trim wheel spinning, because it's trying to catch up with you, right? That's trimming out the forces required on the control surface, all right? So that'd be similar to Airbus flying. Then we have turbulence mode in a CWS mode. So turbulence mode is a control wheel steering mode. Engaging this mode will result in the autopilot changing from command to control wheel steering, and the auto throttle will disconnect. This mode will result in a steady attitude and thrust, avoiding excessive oscillations. So, if you're coming into turbulence, that would be an option then for CWS, because it calms basically everything down, right? Note, lateral and vertical deviations are more likely in this mode and will not maintain the autopilot flight director system targets, as it's not a command mode, right? So in CWS, it's not going to maintain the autopilot flight director. Be aware of that, right? Because it's almost like having it set in the wrong setting and then, grand, the autopilot's on, sure, it's on CWS, I can go off now and chill out. That's not the case, all right? Command mode. In this mode, the autopilot will control the aircraft pitch and roll as required to track the desired mode as set in the autopilot panel. Heading, VOR, or GPS, whatever, right? Then we have takeoff go-around mode. In this mode, the flight director will provide wings level lateral guidance unless heading mode is engaged. Pitch guidance will target an angle of attack corresponding to an airspeed of 1.25 Vs for the current flap setting, limited to a pitch altitude of 17.5 degrees. Spoilers will fully retract and DLC disabled if go-around mode is engaged with flaps at 33 degrees. So basically, it's setting you up for an immediate go-around. The TriStar was the first wide-body aircraft capable of an auto-land feature. So the autopilot is extremely powerful here. It was ahead of its time, right? And all these modes, we just need to figure it out. Today, the simplified autopilots, press the button. What do you want me to do? Me speed and me direction. That was it. This, we got a little bit more work just to be aware of, all right? Then we have our speed command on the auto throttle system. The speed command system is independent of the autopilot operation and can be used with or without the autopilot being engaged. Lusty, thank you very much indeed for 2 months. Thank you very, very much. Great support. Hope you're well. Yeah, so the SCS system is independent of the autopilot, meaning that we can use this with or without autopilot being engaged. Something else to be aware of. If you disengage the autopilot, you need to be thinking, what about the auto throttle, right? Or the speed command. The system also monitors the angle of attack. As the angle of attack nears a stall angle, alpha mode engages. This command speed is disregarded and thrust is increased to help recover from a high angle of attack. So let's say, for example, you know, your angle of attack or your pitch rate is just too much for the aircraft to handle. It'll then automatically jump into alpha mode and it will take over. It'll lower the nose, probably increase the power, get you out of trouble. All right. Then we have our controls. These are all on our main glare shield. These are the autopilot controls. So what we have on the left-hand side, right, this is our auto throttle mode panel. So we have AT for the auto throttle. That controls the auto throttle engagement, right? And then we have TM. This is thrust management. The auto throttle commanded by PMS. Okay. IAS numeric. That is your indicated airspeed. Auto throttle engaged, disengaged, TM disengaged indicates the selected IAS. And if TM is engaged, it indicates the EPR, climb or descent rate, or your IAS or Mach cruise. So your speed setting. All right. Auto throttle mode. AT engaged indicates IAS. TM mode indicates EPR. Grand. And then we have our IS selector rod. Grand. Number two, we have our pitch mode panel. And in here we can see we have vertical navigation, vertical speed, altitude, IAS, Mach. We also then have a trim tiller for up or down, and we can see what mode. So we have our VS engage the vertical speed hold, Alt engages altitude hold, and will capture the altitude at engagement. IAS holds indicated airspeed at the time of engagement. It disengages the auto throttle system if previously engaged. This is a speed on elevator mode, with the aircraft changing its pitch as required to maintain IAS. We're familiar with that. If you're climbing, let's say at 2,500 feet per minute, you click IAS mode, and depending on what speed, the aircraft is going to change its attitude in order to maintain that speed. It's a much safer way of climbing. If you left your aircraft in VS mode, and this is real world stuff as well, if you leave your aircraft in VS mode, that aircraft is configured to maintain that level of climb. Let's say your VS is set to 2,500 feet a minute. It no longer cares about your speed. Your speed could be dropping down, and all the while the aircraft is trying to maintain that climb rate. What happens? You will stall. You'll stall the aircraft. A wing will drop, and that'll be the end of it, right? IAS mode is far more safer because regardless of how much you're climbing, the aircraft is going to try and maintain that speed at all times. It's just a much more safer way to climb and change altitude in an aircraft, you know? And of course, it's just received the Bremen Flight Sim Tees t-shirt. Looks and feels great. Nice! I'm wearing mine today. It came in the post this morning. Gibbo's an absolute legend. They're very comfortable. I'm liking these now. These are very nice. Murmur is here. Good morning. Hope you're well. So that's the crack with that. Pitch mode, VNAV, that'll follow the vertical profile from the FMS. So when you put in your details to say, I want to climb at this rate, I want to cruise at that rate, I want to descend at this rate. That's what VNAV is following. It is your vertical navigation. If you ever get confused between VNAV or LNAV, LNAV is your latitude navigation. LNAV is similar to what you have in your car GPS or the map on your phone. It's giving you lateral navigation. Vertical navigation, instead of going left, right, forwards, backwards, vertical navigation is going up and down. It's just a different system. All right, so that's the difference between vertical navigation and lateral navigation. LNAV, think of that as, well, LNAV will follow the direction I'm supposed to be going. VNAV will follow the vertical profile of it to climb, descend, or stay level. When you have both systems turned on, you're fully in autopilot mode, and you couple that with an auto throttle, that's full autopilot. Full autopilot, all right? So think of in your car, autopilot, you can almost say it's like cruise control, right? Your LNAV is what you have in terms of navigation, because it's lateral. And because we're in aircraft, then we have a VNAV profile, vertical nav, all right, or vertical navigation. Pilot Harper, good morning. It's the L-1011 TriStar from iniBuilds. Great bit of stuff, this one. So our pitch nav follows the vertical profile. VS engages the vertical speed hold. So I want to climb at 1,000 feet per minute or 2,000 feet per minute. It'll hold it. Keep an eye on your speed though. Alt engages altitude hold, and it'll capture the altitude at engagement. So it's an altitude hold. So if you set an altitude and you go IAS or you go V speed, VS, off the plane will go to hit that altitude. If you were to press the altitude button, it's almost like auto hold. Hold me at this altitude now. That's what that means. So don't get mixed up with that. If you hit altitude, you're going to stop climbing or descending. It's going to maintain that. All right. IAS, we know the crack with that. Indicated airspeed at the time of engagement disengages the ATS it previously engaged. So if we don't have a way to set our own speed, which we should do, but if you're climbing at 140 knots or 190 knots or whatever, click on IAS, it'll maintain that speed and it'll start changing your pitch. All right. VNAV and the Skoda, yeah. Then we get into Mach. Now, Mach happens. The Mach speeds happen at a certain velocity at a certain altitude, right? So instead of saying, yeah, I'm at 400 knots or I'm at 525 knots, they don't. To go into, it's transferred over to Mach. Don't worry about it too much. It's not as worrying as something like barometric pressure, whereby, you know, the altimeter has changed once you go over 18,000 feet or your transition level over 5,000 or 6,000 feet. You don't need to worry in that regard. Most aircraft will do this automatically. From an ATC perspective, you'll often hear something like, you know, if your speed is currently 0.8, they might say, you know, cross this waypoint at 250 knots on conversion. What they're basically saying is when you convert it back out of the Mach number, make sure that your speed is down low enough because we want you at the speed at that waypoint. Just to be aware of it. Most aircraft systems you can change between Mach and knots, right? So, yeah. Anyway, the speed on elevator mode with the aircraft changing its pitch as required to maintain the Mach number at the time of engagement. It's the very same as IAS, all right? Very same. Vertical speed selector. On your numeric display indicates your altitude, vertical speed, indicated airspeed, and your Mach number. And then we have our pitch mode display. Are you in VS, Alt, Cap, which is altitude capture. Altitude capture is what we're going to be looking for. IAS, indicated airspeed, or M, which is Mach. Then we have our heading mode. Heading mode, it sounds very straightforward, but effectively, you'll have a dial in which you can turn, and you'll see that rose compass move to say, I want to be on a heading of 360 degrees, which is north. Yeah, that's where all these dials come in from. We don't say 0 degrees. North is classed as 360 degrees. Okay, east is 090 degrees, south is 180 degrees, and west is 270 degrees. That's something you want to learn. Don't worry too much about all the other numbers, but just know if I'm going north, it's 360. The opposite to that, take away 180 because you're doing a 180. And then you have 90-degree intervals. Now, you could go 45-degree intervals, but you want it, that's, you know, especially when you get into using autopilot, heading modes and all this kind of stuff, get yourself familiar with that. You just draw a circle, and instead of putting in a clock like 12, 3, 6, and 9, put in 360, 090, 180, and 270. You start doing that, the brain starts, that's the direction we're going. Some people can struggle with that, do you know? Then we have our autopilot flight director system engagement. So we have flight director switches. The turbulence switch, and we've already read up on this, engages turbulence mode whenever the autopilot is in command or CWS mode, unless we're in approach or we're landing or in a go around mode. So there's a button that says turbulence. So if you're in turbulence mode, when we read about it here, the system takes over and it'll calm things down. However, you don't want to stay in turbulence mode because there's a good chance it's not following your flight director correctly. You could drift. So be aware of that. All right. What else do we have here then? Autopilot switches, changes, CWS, that's okay. Disengages auto throttle. Removes the flight director bars. Reduces pitch and roll gains by 50%. Note, once turbulence mode is engaged, no other mode can be engaged until turbulence mode is manually disengaged. Think of turbulence mode as high precision. We want everything to be as calm as absolute bejesus because it's bumpy. Therefore, we're going to use turbulence mode that's going to calm and nullify our control inputs and the engines, because you'll shake the crap out of everyone if they're all on hypersensitive mode, right? So you're trying to dial them down a bit. That's what it's doing. Autopilot switches, command or control wheel steering. They're your two switches. And then we have our nav mode. This is important to us. ILS, your localizer and glide slope capture, tracking and auto land modes. It's important that it says tracking, all right? Then you have your localizer, LOC, localizer capture and tracking mode. Then we have VOR, VOR radial capture and tracking. That's your standard VOR. That's where you put in the radio frequency, right? And the aircraft follows that. Localizer is where you tune into your localizer is where you tune in again to frequencies. It follows that. And your ILS is your localizer and glide slope capture, an instrument landing procedure or system, instrument landing system. And again, an ILS is providing you both lateral and vertical guidance. All right. Then we have INS. Now the INS, depending on what we have equipped in the aircraft, if we're just using INS or we're using a GPS or both. If we have it in INS, the switch will display either INS or GPS, depending on the navigation instrument option selected in the PFB. And here's the thing. With the L-1011, you can have and use this aircraft with a Garmin GPS. And it doesn't really matter if that's how you want to fly this machine. I'm not going to think any less or more than you. You're flying the aircraft. You're just using the nav options that you want. Some people will say, no, I'm going old school. I only want to fly by INS. And then you have other mad devils. No, I'm just going to fly VOR to VOR. It's whatever one you want to use yourself, right? It's fun learning these other systems, but if you're comfortable with GPS, just use the GPS. You can learn the other ones over time. You know what I mean? Horizon, good day from Shamrock A330 to Los Angeles. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Then we have HSI, Course 1 and Course 2 selection knob. And then we have our back course, BC back course. They're all just different autopilot mode switches. And again, we can play around with these when we're flying. Then we have our altitude selector knob and display window, right? So that's, again, we're focusing on that panel up here. And we'll go through it back in the aircraft, you know. GPS was a real world option too, so you're not even cheating. 100%. They were retrofitted with GPS. So, yeah, 100%. You're not cheating. You fly the aircraft you're most comfortable with. You need to start somewhere, right? So don't think, oh, I can't get my head around this plane. It's too confusing. No, it's not. Get in there and just start flying it, because you will start picking things up. Do you know? Right. Now, the altitude selector knob. So the inner knob is select altitude automatically captured by the autopilot. Or you have the outer knob, altitude source selector. Normal, the oral warning and altitude capture alert references is number 1. You have ADC and captain's altimeter setting. Standby, the oral warning and altitude capture altitude references the number 2. And ADC and first officer altimeter setting. We'll look at that closer inside the aircraft. Again, these are just when it comes to our altitude settings. All right. Would the TriStar or any third-party aircraft be VR compatible? I'm a flight sim veteran, but new to simming in VR and still learning. Alex McCardle, welcome in, Alex. Yes is the short answer. They are fully compatible with VR. Depending on the headset you're using, might be a little bit difficult, and especially with something like the TriStar in a VR environment, I would recommend having the flight engineer do all the backup work behind you. Failing that, you just need a couple of buttons that you know you can move to a different station. But yes, short answer is yes, 100% they are. You know. Homewrecker says, I always wanted to fly a pure instruments only flight. No visual reference, but never brave enough when it comes to landing. Have to be looking out the window. Yeah, Homewrecker. So, there is easier aircraft. If you want to do the full instrument flying only. And by instrument flying, I would always say start off with GPS, then you get into, VOR or ADF and all this kind of stuff, right? DME stuff. And then you can do auto land. Auto land is pretty cool once it's configured correctly, right? I don't really see the fun in it, but it is, it's cool. The sim can do it. It's supported, and third-party aircraft, some of them do it very well. An auto-land feature, right? You can do it in the 737s, you can do it in the A320s, you can do it in this, But yeah, Sumner, hope you're well, buddy. Horizon says the TriStar, that thing looks like it takes years to start up. It's pretty cool, though. It's pretty cool. It looks worse than it is. It looks worse than it is. So, we'll be having a closer look at all that. Now, we also have something important on our control column. The yoke, right? Our control column. You have a button here on the left-hand side. That's for takeoff and go around switch. This needs to be activated when we're setting up the autopilot. Then we have our trim switch, up and down for trim. And then we have the autopilot disconnect switch. Be aware of that. So the takeoff go around switch is actually on the left-hand side of your yoke. All right? Then we have our pilot instrumentation panel. The AFCS mode annunciator display the autopilot modes that are currently engaged. This is what we shall be referencing. We'll know if something's on or not on. That's what all this is. All right. Armed modes. The mode name will be in white text followed by the word arm on a black background. So you can see here, look, localizer is armed. Glide slope is armed, right? Versus INS is active. VNAV is active or engaged, yeah? And if you saw something without the arm, it's not set up, all right? Then the pilot instrument, if we have any warnings, this is where we're going to have the autopilot limit. Now you might say, what's the autopilot limit? In turbulence, that could happen and it'll disconnect you. Heavy turbulence does it. I've flown in airplanes in the real world. I've flown an airplane, dipped, we're on a heading, the wing dipped into the cloud, and it was enough to shake the autopilot. Autopilot disconnected. Great fun. Put your wing into a cloud, it's like rumble strips, it's class, right? So there are limits to how the autopilot and its servos can actually manage, it can stay in control. If you push it too much, it disconnects. And it's a safety feature as well. If you're flying along and then you take full manual control and you go outside of what the autopilot is able for, it will auto disconnect. So be aware for that, right? We have the autopilot disconnect, auto throttle disconnect, and then you've split. I don't know what that is. Alert switch flash when the annunciator appears. So let's see here now. Test 1, that displays all the stuff. Test 2 displays the following warnings, right? AP disconnect, autopilot disconnects. No dual, which would be an orange, indicates single autopilot engagement. SCS warnings, auto throttle system disengaged, and then no GA, no go around, fault detected in the go around mode after glide slope capture. Okay. Command disconnect, no flare, appears at 150 feet radar altitude. Now, or a radar altitude, with your aircraft, again, I'm going off on a tangent, but with your aircraft, you have static ports around the aircraft, and that's usually what gets you your altitude. It's based on barometric pressure and static pressure in and around the aircraft. Other aircraft give you, in addition to that, they'll also use what's called radar altitude. And I mean this in the most layman terms. Think of like a depth sounder, right? Or sonar underneath the airplane, and it just fire a laser to the ground and it comes back and that's how far you are. It's called radar altitude. Military aircraft use radar altitude a lot because they have what's called terrain following. So they can literally say, make sure I maintain 200 feet off the ground at all times. And they can do it. We even have that in flight sim. The Jag can do it. I think others can do it. But that's radar altitude, right? And that's where, your radar altitude is very, very accurate. It's literally the ground under the aircraft. The static stuff is very accurate as well, but if you have both systems, extremely accurate, right? Extremely. Anyway, no flare, and then we have that. Yaw SAS warnings. The autopilot has reached maximum deflection possible on the stabilizer. Okay, what they mean by deflection is input. It can't go any further. It's reached the end of it. No align means that it has detected a failure in the alignment or rollout mode. I need to learn what the split is. Anyway, performance management system. The PMS is a system designed to optimize the flight and reduce fuel burn. How it does it, it computes and displays various flight parameters that can be used for operating the aircraft as economically as possible. Now, it's not all about keeping Greta happy. Fuel efficiency is vitally important because if you had to deal with delays, a go-around, missed approach, if you had to delay or deal with holes, or you had to deal with maybe bad weather, change of destination, you name it. That's why this system suddenly becomes vital, right? It displays performance data for various phases of flight, provides input for coupling the PMS with the autopilot and throttle systems. So think of the logic as this. You have 3 different core layers to your autopilot system. 3 different layers, right? You have your positioning, your lateral. Where are we going? Direction, right? And direction and altitude. They're all linked in together, right? The second one then is going to be your speed, your throttle, auto throttle, and also the control wheel. That's the second part. So where am I going? How fast am I getting there? And then the third part of all of this then is the engine mode, or in this case, the performance management system. How long can we maintain this? Think of that as your 3 kind of basic fundamentals of the autopilot system, in particular with the L-1011, but this is the same on most other aircraft. Airbus logic, you know it, it's built into the throttle. You've climb, you've flex, you've all these different throttle modes, right? In a Boeing, usually they're all automated now, but you also have other buttons, right? And some of the older aircraft, you have options then by setting, they usually call it the TMS, throttle management system. If you're familiar with aircraft such as, the BAE 146, for example, right? TMS is what that's called. But effectively what it is a system that manages the performance based on efficiency, fuel economy, or whatever is either required from the airline, right? It provides inputs for coupling the PMS with the autopilot and the auto throttle system, all right? So we have different modes for this performance management system. Takeoff. Display mode only computes and displays takeoff EPR based on inserted temperature. You often hear of flex temperature if you need to derate the aircraft, as in don't have the engines go to 100%. Most of them don't allow you to do that anyway. They want the engines to last longer. So literally they will derate the takeoff power, your thrust power, right? But yes, let me see here now. Andy Brown, good to see you. Hope you're well, buddy. Hope you're well. GMT is the actual time as entered. EPR, takeoff EPR displayed after all parameters in this page are entered. PR altitude automatically inserted from the air data computers. Gross weight requires manual entry, round this value to the nearest 1000. Fuel, total fuel weight requires manual entry, round this value to the nearest 100. And then you've SAT. Your static air temperature in degrees Celsius requires manual temperature. So these are all on the performance management system. And we have to fill out this data, right? Then we have our flight setup. Bottom of descent. You've often heard of top of climb, top of descent. We also have bottom of descent, right? So bottom of descent, distance, altitude, and speed entry page. BOD dis is your bottom of descent distance, bottom of descent altitude, and bottom of descent speed. Particularly handy when you're going to be coming down under 10,000 feet, because most airports and airspace, you're going to be restricted to a maximum of 250 knots under 10,000. Sometimes it's less, right? Then we've climb. The PMS uses pitch to control airspeed according to the IAS or MAC climb schedule. Engine thrust is controlled through the auto throttle system following the climb EPR schedule. The system will automatically switch to cruise mode when altitude hold is engaged and it holds the selected cruise speed. So think of this as, you're climbing in, if you're in your car, you're climbing in 4th gear. The revs are higher, you're burning more fuel, but you're getting there fast. You suddenly get into cruise mode, well then you put it into fifth or sixth gear. The revs drop down, the car's more efficient, you're cruising. The aircraft is technically doing the exact same thing. In climb mode, as soon as you level out, it will put you into cruise mode. Different settings for the engine, all right? So we have this climb 250, 320, and then 820. The schedule is like this. 250 knots until 10,000, 320 knots until reaching Mach 0.82, then climb at Mach 0.82 until reaching cruise level. That's what those numbers mean. All right. EPR with a whole load of numbers and letters. First value is the D-rated EPR. Second value is the maximum climb. All right. Again, we don't need to worry too much on how we get these figures. That we'll learn later on. We just need to be aware of what this system is doing. All right. Alt and OPT, the first value altitude is entered at cruise altitude, is the entered cruised altitude. It'll default to flight level 430 until manually changed by the pilot. Second value displays the current optimum cruise altitude. So the optimum OPT is the aircraft telling you this is the optimum cruise altitude based on our weight and balance, engine settings, D-rate performance, yada yada. All right. TOC NMZ, distance and time to reach the top of your climb. Top of climb, NM speed, Z, it's indicating Zulu time. All right. Then we have SAT and TAS, static air temperature and true air speed. That's what goes in there. All right. Cruise, the PMS controls the optimum cruise speed through the auto flight or the auto throttle system. So then you'll see your cruise, command cruise Mach and the corresponding indicated airspeed. So it'll say, yeah, we're going to be at Mach 0.83 or 285 knots, depending on your altitude. Then you have your fuel remaining, fuel weight inserted in the takeoff page minus the fuel used. Altitude and optimum. The first value altitude is the entered cruise altitude. Again, it'll default to flight level 430 until manually changed. Second value is the current optimum cruise. So it's telling you what's optimum. Top of descent, distance and time, and then you have again your static air and your true airspeed. Then you have your en route descend mode or descent mode. This mode applies to any descent that occurs more than 10 minutes prior to the top of your descent, which you might get. ATC might tell you to drop now, right? So there's a slightly different one because it's called en route descent. So slightly different than straight descent. Just be aware of it. Your descent speed schedule, in this case, Mach 0.84 until indicated airspeed 340 knots, then descend at 340 knots. And altitude and optimum, and then you have your static air temperature and true airspeed. Your descent mode applies to any descent that occurs less than 10 minutes prior to the top of descent. Hang on. This mode applies to any descent that occurs more than 10 minutes prior to top of descent. This mode applies to any descent that occurs less than 10 minutes prior to top of descent. Sorry, I thought it was a typo. So you use descent mode if you're within 10 minutes of your scheduled top of descent. Grand. The PMS descent mode computes backwards the top of descent point required to reach a certain distance at a pilot-defined altitude and speed. This is achieved by entering the distance, altitude, and time to the bottom of descent. Note, this is not vertical navigation mode providing guidance to reach the required altitude and speed at the entered distance. Consider the descent progress and manually intervene if required to achieve the desired altitude and speed correctly by the bottom of descent. The entered bottom of descent reduces based on the current ground speed as provided by the INS and not a distance to a certain waypoint. For example, an aircraft in a hold will see a constant decrease to base or bottom of descent even though the distance to the desired waypoint hasn't been decreased. The pilot must update the bottom of descent distance as required. Right. Let's see what happens. Certainly, Dave, good to see you. We'll start again. So same sort of crack. Descent speed altitude Mach 0.8 until 300, and then descend at 300 until 10,000, and then below 10,000 at 250 knots. That's what all of that has given you. Then we have our bottom of descent altitude. Bottom of descent and bottom of descent altitude, speed, the distance, and the time of your top of descent. Bottom of descent, top of descent, right? Landing mode only computes and displays V-speed and go-around EPR. VTH, indicated airspeed at the threshold. VTH, what speed at threshold. GA EPR, the first value is the all-engine go-around EPR. Second value is two-engine go-around EPR. Okay. PR altitude is your present pressure altitude. GW and GS, current gross weight and ground speed. Fuel, and then your static air and true airspeed. How do you know that 800 is Mach and 0.8 and 300 reverts to knots? Well, 0.8 is Mach, right? Once you hear 0.8 or 0 decimal 8 or whatever, that's the talk. Once you hear points and decimals, you're talking Mach speed, right? Usually, you're what's the conversion? Hang on, we'll find this out now. Conversion speed. Mach is the ratio of true airspeed to the speed of sound that you climb. Rough estimate, hang on now. Sea level. Hang on now. The transition from knots indicated airspeed to Mach number typically occurs during your climb at the crossover altitude, usually between flight level 260 and flight level 300. This is the point where the target climb speed in knots equals the target Mach number, often managed automatically by your flight computer. At high altitudes, maintaining a constant KIAS causes the aircraft to exceed its maximum operating speed limit. When in a climb, it occurs when the Mach curve and the IAS curve intersect. Now, Northern Aviation, you'll just do a search for the manual. It's on the iniBuilds forum, right? So are we happy enough with that? The transition from knots indicated airspeed, KIAS, to Mach number typically occurs during climb at the crossover altitude, usually between flight level 260 and flight level 300. Usually. All right. Again, we can do more on this. We'll learn a bit more on this. On some aircraft, for example, on the Boeing 777, below flight level 310 or 31,000 feet, airspeed is referenced as indicated airspeed. In aerodynamics, when an aircraft breaks the sound barrier, it is said to have reached Mach 1. When an airplane is capable of exceeding that speed of sound, there are other implications associated with it. The aircraft now becomes supersonic, and shock waves begin to form on the wings, and so on. If airspeeds are not referenced to Mach numbers, it would not be possible for the pilot to be worried that the airplane is operating at the speed of sound. There's probably a little bit more to that. Just why that's important as well. So you know the Citation X? You know the Citation from Flight Effects? That aircraft is actually capable of Mach. They actually had to put a restrictor, a limiter on the engine. She can hit Mach 1, no problem. The engines are so powerful, you know. But anyway, so that's the landing. Then we have other controls. So we see our line keys where the keyboard is. How do we basically interact with that system? All right. So the PMS pre-flight procedure for takeoff, enter the current GMT time and insert. Enter the aircraft gross weight, insert. Enter the total fuel to the nearest 100. For example, 190,300, just put it in at 1903. It'll be displayed as 190.3. Enter the outside temperature in degrees. That's your static air temperature. What's going on outside? Then your flight setup page, bottom of descent, distance, insert preliminary calculations, update is required. climb page, altitude, put in your cruise, and so on and so forth. Then we get into the APU. Now the APU, we'll figure this one out as we're working on the aircraft. So, do we kind of have an idea, lads, of what we're doing? So, let us jump into this machine and welcome to the flight deck of the L-1011. And straight away you might say, oh, mother of Janie. Right. So we'll go over the few bits we were just talking about. So we have our flight engineer station, this area here. And to do a quick recap, we were looking at the engine bleed control system, right? So that's what they were making reference to. We were looking at the cabin pressure control system. We were looking at our ECS and pack flow, right? And then we're going to be having a look at our APU here now in a moment as well, all right? Outside of that, it's all going to be engine, fuel, buses, electrics, all that kind of stuff, hydraulics. That's what they are, right? The main bit of work for us is when we're talking about the autopilot. So this is the main panel we're looking at. We have our auto throttle here. We have our pitch modes here, our VNAV, VS, and so on. Then we can pitch up or down. Our heading mode, and we have a dial to turn that. Then we have the, let's call this the mode switch. We have off on system A. We have control wheel steering or command mode. And then you have your flight director main switch. And then you have system B. It's the very same system, but this is for the co-pilot. And you'll notice then you have this turbulence mode right in the middle. Remember what happens in turbulence mode? That's where it nulls out a lot of the controls, and we can take control basically if we want, or it will just calm everything down so it's not going to be as snappy and as quick to respond, right? Then we have our nav if we're going to be ILS, localizer, VOR, or INS. INS is also going to be us for GPS. Then we have our altitude select. Then we have some VHF radios. That's for tuning in for nav, right? VHF nav radios, right? And that's the main thing there. Up on top into the overhead, we do have the air data sensor. So this is like your pitot, windshield heat, anti-ice systems. That's all those. All right. That's what we were looking at earlier on. What else do we have? Mac feel. I'll learn about that one later. Lights, they're all fine. Anti-skid, and what else? Automatic brake, leave to off at the minute. What else do we want to look at here? Wasn't it the autopilot? So the autopilot. Upper arm here now. Where was the autopilot warning stuff? That was on the overhead, wasn't it? Flight controls. Where's the shagging thing now? There's a thought it was there. Smoke detection. My God, I've lost it. Hang on, we'll find it. Auto flight. Yes. Where's this now? Ah, okay, so you have your autopilot modes. We have one here. And we have one over here, right? So they're going to tell us about the autopilot modes. And here's the gadget here. Autopilot disconnect. Yaw, SES, command disconnected. That's what that screen is showing us there. Right. So your AFCS warning. All right, happy days. And then we have the our EPR stuff as well, which are these units here. These guys. All right. All right, super duper. So quick check on the aircraft. What are we doing right now? We'll go to menu. We're logged in. Autocomplete panel states. So panel states, cold and dark, aircraft, settings, right? We're using INS and GPS for today, just for the sheer crack of it. All right. What else do you want to do? INS alignment time, we'll keep it on instant. Throttle calibration, third party, and auto. That's fine. So ground, all looking good. Verify door and equipment is shut. That's fine. Our flight plan. Why didn't it load in my new flight? Helper? That's the flight engineer, right?
Hello there.
Let's see. Aeronaut, good to see you, buddy. Welcome aboard. So we're connected. Okay, so how do we do our... Isn't there like a resync?
Time to pull the big switch, good buddy.
Oh, Yanni, welcome in, buddy. Hope you had a great stream. Man, you were streaming for hours. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in, Raiders. And, well, great to see you. Great to see you. Murph, the Aeronaut says, Murph, thank you for introducing our MI2 hoplite to your community yesterday. Sorry you couldn't attend to help with the setting, the cockpit language and night lights. Hope we can have another stream. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Incredible work with that helicopter. It is amazing. Love it. That M2 hoplite, it is absolutely brilliant. Top class stuff, lads. Absolutely brilliant. And yeah, definitely we'll be doing more content with that. Because that's a machine I need to learn as well. I have to learn all these machines. It's terrible. But yeah, absolutely. Fantastic work. Yanni, thank you very much, buddy. Now, I'm trying to think, why can't we... ground... Isn't there a button here to get me flight in? Simbrief import. There you go, Murph. There you go. Operational flight plan. This is wrong. Reload. Aha! Shannon to Dublin. Now, see, we figured it out. Landing, that's grand. Charts, that's grand. And then our en route map, that's grand. Right, so we've done all that. So the ground is what I'm interested in. GPU is there, we want that. We do have some covers in play, so I suppose we better remove some of these covers, shall we? So we'll go in here to chocks. So we're going to remove the pitot covers, remove the engine covers. We can keep the chocks in play. And we'll close this menu for the moment. Right, over to our engineer's panel. And the first thing we're going to do, lads, is turn on the master battery. There's lights. We have lights. Next, we can go ahead and fire up the external power because we know it's available. So, external power. There it should be. And in terms of setting up the aircraft, we just need to make sure that most of our buses are on and they're good to go. So these are all in the... Well, they're on, which is what we want. So they work. So power's going in. That was the fuel system. That's why we're hearing some noise. Tanks will leave them off for the moment. Galley power, we don't need it for this flight. We're not worried about passengers, right? Chalk says the MI2 looked great yesterday. Definitely be grabbing it. Yes, it's awesome. So we have to do all our normal kind of fire tests here as well, right? So our fire extinguisher test. So we can see engine 1, 2 and 3 light up and the APU light up as well. Click those off. Fire detection loop test, so we can test systems A, systems B. There's our bell, and disconnect. Nacelle pylon overheat. Go ahead and test. Engine turb cooling air. B system's working fine. Wheel well fire test. A and B. And there's our bell. Our brake temperature test. Overheat, high temperature, left and right gear, grand. And we'll see the temperature come up here. Slap monitor is fine. We'll do the rest of our internal oral warning. So this is our overspeed. Cabin pressure. Unsafe landing. Unsafe takeoff. And then flaps. Alright, they're all working fine. Passenger oxygen's okay. Humidity control, leave it be. Smoke detection in the galley. Now we can go A system or B system. We have it on both, the boat working. Let me see here. Forward cargo compartment. We'll do a test on this for the squibs. Wastewater. We have our flight data for today. And that's kind of us looking good there for the moment. What else do we have? We have our APU. So we will be turning this guy on here shortly. What else do we have here now? Pickup selection. Engine status. They're currently off. We can test these. That'll just show you the vibration of the engine to make sure that we know if they're working. Engine oil. That's all looking good. Engine fuel. We want to make sure that the aircraft is fueled, ready to rock, right? So our load sheet is loaded. Sim brief import. So that's our fuel, cargo, and passengers. So we're looking good. That is loaded. I love the graphics they gave us. Do you know? What else we want to do here now? Anti-skid currently turned off. ILS alignment. So we're going to go and put them in align mode. And we'll worry about them now in a minute. Windshield heat, all that jazz is off. Exterior lights. So we'll go ahead and put on our position light and our logo light, right? Our emergency lighting. Our standby power needs to come on. No smoking comes on. Our master radio switches, 1 and 2, come on. They're our avionics. And these are our main lights. Radio, compass, and align. Alright, so we're looking good up on top here for the moment. So avionics are coming alive, in particular this guy. So this comes with the INS. Now, we had a quick look at the INS last week. We don't need to fly with the INS if we don't want to, right? So for this, we could just say, do you know what? I only want to fly with a GPS today. That makes life terribly easy. Right, because we're now no longer worried about aligning our INSs, providing all the different waypoints. You can auto import it, and it is fun. But for this one, let's just go with the GPS. Our focus today is making sure the autopilot works and we can fly the plane. Right. So we'll horse this in. It's acquiring its satellites, and if we go into flight plan, I still don't think we can import this. No. So we need to put in our own flight plan. So we'll start. So we'll type in our flight plan as per sim brief. It's not a big one. So it's going to be Shannon, Echo India November November. Enter. Our waypoint is going to be a Agini, AGINI. Enter. From Agini, it's going to be Oscar. From Oscar, it's into Dublin. Echo India Delta Whiskey. Enter. So that's what our flight plan looks like. Now, what we can do here when it comes to our flight plan, this is where we can start loading in approaches. So we're going to say departures. So we're going to say, yeah, select departure. So our departure is the Agena 3 Alpha. Enter. And we're departing runway 06. Load that in. Now we're going to come in and we're going to load our arrival. Select arrival. So we're going to be... We did that wrong. Go back one, Murph. Clear. We're going to select an arrival into Dublin. Dublin arrival is on the Oscar 4 Lima. So we scroll down to the Oscar 4 Lima. Oscar 3, Oscar 4 Lima. That's her. And our runway for landing, we're planning runway 28 left into Dublin. And the last bit of the jigsaw, we're going to load an approach. We're going to plan the ILS into Dublin. ILS on runway 28 left. We're going to vector from probably Pizza, or you can use vectors. And we're going to load. GPS guidance is for monitoring only, yes. So now we have the full flight plan loaded into our GPS in the aircraft. And we can zoom out and have a look at it just to be sure. The entirety of our flight plan, it's loaded in to our GPS. And this is the GNS 530. Very capable unit. Alright, it's a very fancy unit. Usually you get a 430, you know. Homeworker says, Murph, I'm a bit lost on the flight plan you put in Discord. Your AC always wants to go to the destination on the magenta line, but nothing for stops along the way. What are you doing wrong? Your aircraft always wants to go to the destination. So with the flight plan you put in, are you importing that into the sim? So it'll always show you the destination, but it should be giving you a breakdown of each of the waypoints along the way. It depends on what way your autopilot is configured, Homewrecker. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, so if you're importing a flight plan, the way I've just done it there, where you put in, see your flight plan here, you'll have your departure, then you put in your waypoints, then you put in your destination. For a lot of our flights, we go, the waypoint is a destination, or a destination is a waypoint, right? So how it would look like, you would put in, for example, depending on the GPS, you would put in, you know, your starting airport, then it'll ask you for the destination, and then it'll ask you, well, what en route stuff you're doing. That makes sense? Like, do we have the 4, or do we have the 7, hang on. We'll try this. I need to sneeze. Gesundheit. I'll show you here using a GTN, right? So with a GTN, go back one. Come on, resize you devil. Right, so with a GTN, or yeah, a GTN 750, flight plan we'll look at, right? So if we were, see the way this is put it in. Now, can I do a second flight plan? You'll be putting in your departure, then you'll be putting in your destination, or you can add waypoints. Yeah, it depends on the aircraft home record. They may not be picked up as part of the flight plan. They should be, because they are waypoints. Like if you look at Navigraph, for example, right? If you look at Navigraph, and if you're to do a flight as follows. So this flight that we're doing today, new flight, right? So if we were to say, right, well, we're doing Shannon to Dublin. That's a direct to, right? However, if we were going to use other waypoints or airports, right, it should be tracking to each waypoint. The waypoint should be picked up, so there's something not working right. So in your autopilot mode, you want to make sure that the full flight plan is loaded in. You know, if you're doing an auto import using Microsoft Flight Sim as in its own flight planner, stop doing that. Manually put them into your GPS. There's a good chance that the default flight planner is not picking up all these waypoints. Maybe that's the other thing, you know? Maybe. So, let me know how you get on though. Like tomorrow night, for example, when we're doing our group flight, that's where you'll get the idea. Alright? Right, so that's our flight plan for today. You load it in on the welcome screen. Yeah, don't do that. Go into the aircraft itself and go into the autopilot in the aircraft. Or your Jeep. Like, that's where you want to put it in. Using the sim one, not great. Not great. Alright? Right, so our navigation is configured. And the rest then is just going to be mainly for autopilot systems, right? Now this guy is giving out to me, navigation not initialized, set initial track first. So we can probably just go to nav now. Oh, we don't even have an INS. Right, perfect. We want to be on GPS mode. So that's GPS mode. And that's GPS mode. So I don't think this guy is going to work now. No imported use Imbri for flight panel. That's okay. So we don't need to worry about him. All right. Okay. So continue on with the aircraft. Squawk. We'll put in a make you uppy squawk. I don't know, 6461. Stick it on. Radios are there if we need them. So the rest is going to be our pre-flight. Pre-flight preparation. Master switch, GPU, APU. So we need to get that APU up and running. So APU, all we should need to do here. Master power. And start. Door in transit. That's the APU flap opening, right? Hey, Cracker, good to see you. And then we'll see her firing up. APU control, we should see activity up here. I've missed something. Auto fire shutdown, that's all set. Right, but the door is open, or at least it was. Why isn't this coming up now? Minimum mode for startup. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doo. Shouldn't this have fired up? Huh. Let the flight engineer do that. Fuel panel set, right.
Got it. Pre-flighting now.
Oh wait, sure. I needed friggin' pumps on. Alright, APU is rising up there now. I probably forgot a fuel pump. That's okay. Soundage. Oh heck yeah. Yeah, it should have been fuel and valves open. Yes.
Captain, happy to report that the aircraft is now set to your specifications.
Thanks very much. Let's go back and have a look at what he did. So the fuel system, he turned on the pumps, and that's where we got the APU from. All is now looking good. We should be running off APU power. So if we say ground services on the APU, which it is, then we have the bleed systems, right? Engine bleed control. So we can see engine isolation valves are in, APU valve is in. That's what we're looking for, all right? Hot air is off, don't need it. And high pressure, don't need it, all right? Next, we're going to have our engine start up and all this kind of jazz as well. Now we can disconnect from the ground power because we're going to be on the engine start page next, right? So doors, lights and bleed valve. Right, so we're going to go to ground. We are going to go to remove before flight. Make sure our parking brake is set. It looks set. It is set. Remove the chocks. We can get rid of all these guys. Close the stairs. Close the door. And remove the ground power unit. Doing your PPL exam on Friday. Max, best of luck with it, buddy. Murph, I heard Valanta is available on Xbox, but now you have to pay £5. Yeah, I didn't get any feedback yet, Briggsy. Good to see you, bud. Hammer Nails, welcome in. This type of level is how all planes should be, especially the retro ones. Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Roy, it's great learning this stuff, isn't it? It's great learning this. It's like, we see aircraft and we're like, yeah, it's another airplane. When you really want to get involved in it, I think, as a simulator, this is where it shines, you know? Right. Them stairs should have went for the hop. There we go. There's still cones there, but we won't worry about it. Now, we do have a pushback cart, so we'll talk to GSX here. Prepare for pushback and departure. Aer Lingus. There's Cornelius. Man yourself.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
Lovely. Now, anti-collision lights coming on. Position lights are on. No smoking. Seatbelts on. Okay, so what I want to do, let's go ahead and configure a couple of things first, right? Our first point of call is going to be that of our altitude. We'll set an initial 9 or 1,000. You tend to get that out of Shannon, right? So we'll say 9,000. Does this work? Okay, heading works, altitude doesn't.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Okay, flight director coming on. And we need to put on our go around and take off. Now we can see our flight director. That's all disconnected, which is absolutely fine. The auto throttle system, we're going to bring our speed up. Now we still need to configure the aircraft, but we'll do all this now in a moment, right? We'll set 200 on that. Our type of navigation is going to be using the GPS, so we need to select it on INS, right? And once we come down here to our takeoff, flaps will be set for 10. We're going to sync all of this, we're going to calculate it, and we're going to set the bugs and the EPR. Quick look down here. EPR should be set. There is no EPR. That's mad, there's no EPR because the INS. Is that right? Must be right. That was right.
Release parking brakes, please.
We'll do that now in a second. Landing performance, no, that's fine. Okay. Takeoff 643, initial climb 134, 134, 148. Flaps 10, stab 477. So flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
And then we'll do our trims here after the moment. Right, brakes off.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Okay, now we'll go to our engine start. So back into our menu. Engine start, door lights out, galley, bleed panel configuration. So the bleed panel configuration for engine start. Engine bleed. So I imagine it's the packs come off. Right. That looks good. Engine start switches. System A or B, doesn't matter. And we'll go engine 1. So we'll go ignition, valve, and start. There's a green light, valve is open. And we have N3, TGT, and N1.
Please set parking brakes. Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Okay, fuel system enrich. We're sounding good.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Okie dokie. It also justifies the price. Yeah, 100%. That's class, like, it really is class. Automatic braking set for takeoff.
Unlocking gear.
Okay, engine 2. There's usually a way to start this up. We're just starting at 1, 2, and 3 today. Depends on the airline as well.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Fuel coming in. We have positive fuel flow.
Left is clear.
RPM is
Right
climbing. Turbine gas temperature is climbing. N1 is climbing. And then we can see our EPR coming in. That'll stabilize at about 20. And we do have some sounds for this as well. Good man yourself, Vinton. And finally, we'll go for number 3. And 3 coming up. Great sounds, isn't there? Fuel in. Monitor fuel flow. There she be. N3 rising. Turbine temperature coming up. And N1 is climbing. Super duper. Okay, we're looking good. Okay, that's our next checklist. I turned off my camera, did I? What a muppet. Mad Max! Now, ATT3. Don't know what that is. Now, flaps are set for 10. Now, I need to know, wasn't it our trim? 4.77, wasn't it? Flight controls, full forward, full back, full left, full right, rudder left, rudder right, spoiler. Okay, problem with the rudder. Hydraulics maybe? Okay, so let's have a quick look. Continuous ignition, no. Although you probably want that for takeoff. Alright, temperatures and probes are turned on. Anti-skid I'm having an issue with. Need to check that. That looks okay-ish. Right, what's shouting at me over here? Alright, get the packs back in. Now these gens should be on. So our gens are working, so we just want to make sure. Alright, gens are working. External power is off. So it's only a matter now of turning off the APU, isn't it? APU coming off. Hydraulics. Let's not break them just yet. Okay, door and transit on the APU. Lead air off. Master switch for the APU off. Okay, so engine start. We've done that. Engine panel bleed config. And hydraulic panel. That's grand. After start is done. Line up. So that'll be packs and then off. That's okay. Where's that mad looter going? Good luck to you. Alright, so taxi. And let's see what happens. The power. Alright, easy now. Fine machine this, isn't it? I still have that warning, let's reset that. Easy does it. It's cool looking. Oh, heck yeah. Follow the taxiway. It kind of does, Roy. Yeah, it kind of does. If there's a light on, it gets fierce excited. You know. Jesus Cracker, thank you very much indeed for the gifted sub over to Max. You're very kind, sir. Cheers, buddy. What a legend. Man, isn't it just a class act, this one. Easy now. Ramble on. Yeah, there's a lot of overstay needed, yeah, 100%. Alrighty then, who have we got? Bio Games is flying with us, come on yourself. Alright, so we're going to get ourselves situated onto runway 6 with an oomph up the hill. And we'll start our turn. Alright. Deadly, isn't it? Okay, so the auto throttle, we do have it there. We'll probably go into IAS mode after a while. Heading we're not going to worry about. And then we'll have our autopilot. Message, set course 055. Alrighty. See our TCAS working here, look. Oh, looking good so far. Hey, Strap is here. Good to see you, buddy. Did you set up the controllers in Microsoft Flight Sim itself or SPAD? Default sim, Roy. So I'll need to fix that. Alright, bit of a turn here. Come on, Betsy. Go, bit of power needed here. Come on, Betsy, round the hill. That's cool. The old oxygen systems. Alright. If it works, yeah. Yeah, I'll double check it out. Alright, so lineup. It wants packs 1 and 3 off. Let's see if we can do that ourselves. So, packs 1 and 3. Pack control 1 and 3. They're off. Quick check. That looks good. Next checklist is going to be our climb, and then we put all our packs back on. Right, friends, to infinity and beside. Power coming in. Engine stable. Toga. Takeoff power set. Airspeed alive. We're looking for about 150.
80 knots.
80 knots. V1. Rotate. Yep, see Daisy.
Rotate.
Come on, Betsy. There she goes. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. Easy now. Into command mode. And we also want some vertical speed. And as climb is at 2500. She's not following me flight plan, so we'll watch for this.
Flaps forward.
So we'll use a little bit of manual intervention for the moment.
Flaps 0.
Right, flaps coming in. So command is what I want, and then we want to go IAS or INS mode. And now she's captured. Auto throttle is set, 200. And let's go IAS mode as we climb. 193 knots. Alright, she'll pitch up to something mad here now. Say it's good to see it. This looks good. Oh yeah. Now our climb profile, she's in IAS mode. So that's going to hold what I was trying to do. If we go back into V-speed, we can lower this down now. Call it 2,500 feet a minute. It's still not doing a great job tracking me flight plan. I wonder what it's missing. Approaching VNAV profile. Yeah, but you're not following. We need to figure this one out. We'll go back heading mode for the minute. It's GPS only on this one. I wonder is that why we have an issue? We need to be in VOR to enable GPS. Oh, look at that, we do. Wait, that's a contradiction, so is it not? Ryan, good to see you, bud. So if we're using GPS, according to the manual, it's INS. Yeah, we did that. Oh wait, INS to radio. Ah, hang on. Did I have it in the wrong one? Ah, yes. She was in the wrong setting. So it should be on. Should it be on radio? We'll find out. Let's see what it does, right? Get our speed up the hill here a little bit. And we can also get our altitude up the road. So 190. Let's go vertical speed once again. Now if I've done this right, the aircraft should bank left when this guy lines up. No. So it's got to be VOR. That's strange, isn't it? Unless I've missed something, but it said if you want to fly with GPS, you select INS. We're doing that with VOR. The need for learning more intensifies. But at least we know what it is. So we just passed over 10,000 feet. Barrel pressure's on standard. And now she's following the flight plan. Auto throttle is in, 250 knots indicated. And then we can manually see then what our maximum speed is going to be. So let's dial this up the road a bit. So we want to set this up to... there we say. And we'll see what this conversion looks like. Then select INS, change the button back from radio to INS. Yeah, no, it's weird it's following VOR. So it looks like it's VOR for just using GPS. I wonder if we had INS and GPS in there. You know what I mean? Right, packs on for a climb. Still climbing. Speed is looking good. Right turn coming in 5 seconds. Turn right to 100 degrees now. Anytime I used it, it was INS and GPS. Yeah. Could be just that it's on GPS only. We'll learn. But like what we're showing here is you can just use that GPS and not worry about INS or anything for that matter. Like this is probably the most basic, simpleton way to do it, right? But hopefully it's enough it'll encourage you to start learning more about it, you know what I mean? And like having this flight engineer here, very handy. So we're climbing nicely. Speed is looking good. So far, so good. So far, so good. Man, what a pretty plane. And Jesus then, isn't it only gorgeous, lads? It is beautiful. Happy Thursday. Fantastic. We got 1,000 feet to go. All right, let's see what we can do with our speed here. Cyber Dammy, hope you're well. Riot. Let's see what happens. Whoa! Kenko in with the raid. Huge raid. Welcome in, Raiders. Happy Thursday. You join us here. Well, you know, like a goat looking at thunder. We're flying the L-1011 and we're doing it in the most of basic ways. We're flying it just with GPS, just to learn the systems and figure it all out. The autopilot is our main kind of learning area today, right? Thank you very much indeed for the raid. Lads, hope you had an awesome stream. So great to see you. Kenko, thank you very much, buddy. Our ace pilot, Alec, good to see you. Bald Eagle, thank you for 37 months. Fenric is here. Good to see you, bud. Welcome in, lads. So we configured the aircraft with the assistance from the flight engineer, right? And currently we're at flight level 190. We're flying from Shannon to Dublin. And we're utilising, you know, the easy way first by utilising our Garmin GNS 530. Now, one thing we figured out, there's no INS, it's just GPS on this one. But in order to get it to track your GPS, it needs to be in VOR mode. I would have thought it should have been in INS mode, at least in the manual. But we don't need to worry about that. We're currently booting here at a speed of Mach 0.61. At this altitude, I mean, we can probably go up the road a little bit. We do have more scope to push on a little bit more, so we'll bring our speed up to about 300 knots indicated, and all the while we can keep an eye on our little Mach number here. This is without doubt, like, this is a phenomenal aircraft, and like trying to learn it, it takes time. But the good news is, I mean, you know, if you just want to get flying with this and using kind of basic rudimentary autopilot, heading, vertical speed profiles, and then GPS with an auto throttle, you know, if it'll get you onto Vatsim quicker if that's what you want to do with this aircraft. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. Amarok DCS, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. So this is our second lesson with this aircraft. And I've seen it being flown plenty of times, and there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. Even looking at the manual, I mean, there's so much in the manual. So we see it here. So we were saying here with the autopilot, where is this now? So the auto throttle, that's fine. So command mode, that's what we're in at the moment. But it was saying if we wanted to use command mode, when it comes to INS mode, right? Hang on now. Move on from there. So it says here, look, That's PMS stuff. Is it in the PMS stuff? So navigation mode panel. INS is GPS. Capture and tracking. The switch will display either INS or GPS depending on navigation instrument. However, it seems to be working with VOR. So I'm not quite sure, is that intentional? I don't know, did I miss a trick? I don't know. It is following our GPS, but it's because we have it in VOR mode, which is weird, right? So we'll see what happens. So on our flight plan, let's have a look. Oscar, range. Let's see here now. We can ramble down the road. Because when it starts coming into altitudes, this is where we kind of want to be ahead of the plane, right? So at Durham, let us have a look. We're also doing an ILS approach 28 left from Pizza. So we'll have a look here with Navigraph. So not above flight level 230, which is fine. So our next altitude we need to watch is going to be all the way over at Soren. We need to be at 7,000 feet. All right, we'll plan for that now. So we'll go over to our altitude. We're going to horse in 7,000 feet. And we can work out ourselves if we go on a vertical speed, right? Now, if you had the PMS, that would do it all for you, right? But let's see if we can go into menu, helper, top of descent calculator. So our starting altitude is going to be 1900. We want to get down to 7,000 feet. Glide path degrees. 37.7 miles, right? So let's look at the distance here. This is going to be 14.7. Sorry, 48 and 11. Okay. Landing weight, sync, calculate, and set. Our V-speeds for landing are gone in there. And we'll start entering a descent. And about 1,500 feet will do us. Bring the speed back to 250. And we can use a bit of spoilers then for drag. I just read that with the new 105 version and the new procedures that come in, they need to change in the manual. Ah, okay, sweet. Is it auto adjust for flight level or manual control? This way, it's manual control. Flying it this way is going to be manual control, defo. Now, you can put in assigned altitudes, you know. But again, using this only in GPS, you've gotten rid of the PMS and the INS system. So you've basically taken an absolute ton of stuff out of the way, which isn't really going to be the ideal way to learn the airplane. But in terms of figuring out, this is how you know, how do you get the autopilot working confidently? If you do want to fly this in Vatsim and you're given a heading or you're given a climb or a speed, how do you achieve that quickly? So it's actually grand. All right. Now the good news is we've a massive approach into Dublin. Now for an ILS, we can put the frequencies in. It's going to be 11135, which is already in. That's already in. And our final course is going to be 278 degrees. So we'll horse them down. And we'll see what happens with these, right? Dougal, good to see you, buddy. It's giving you socks. Ah, Jesus, Dougal. Thinking of you, bud. Hope the staff are treating you nicely, buddy. Yeah, we have a Vatsim briefing to do as soon as we land. We're going to be flying tonight from Tromsø to Svalbard. So that's our mission for this evening. Okay, how are we looking? Current speed is 250 knots. We are descending. We're at 1,500 feet a minute. We're currently passing 15 on the way down to 7,000. And we need to be maximum 220 knots at Soren. We'll drop our speed in a moment. So far so good. Work ahead of the plane, get our lights on. Did I set up my pressurization correctly? We're looking okay. Pack flow is okay. Alright, so back into descent. Barrow set Q and H. That's complete. Our approach. Transfer switches need to go to closed. All crossfeed valves need to go to closed. So we want to watch for that. And we shall see what happens. Okay. Isn't there a way to, can we tilt that? That should be reading 0 now. Shouldn't that be reading 0? According to this, the weather radar is pointing up 3 degrees. But if we change the tilt... Is that a bug? That could be a bug. Interesting. Alright. We'll see. 12,000, we're over the waypoint Kepor now. We can validate that by looking at our flight plan. There's Kepor. Distance to Soren is 17 miles, 17.4. Our rate of descent is quite good. We're coming down onto 11,000. And we can start planning to reduce our speed maximum 220 knots. Auto throttle works pretty well. No issues there. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, Jesus, that's pretty, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous, man. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous airplane, this one. Be Janie then. Remember the M50? Turns on to the M11. That's Dunleary up here. Alright, speed's coming down nicely. We're saying 220 knots max at Soren. Altitude down at 9,000 feet. 2,000 feet to go. I still reckon our 1,500 feet a minute is fairly bang on. Amazing plane. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? Livery's gorgeous. It would be nicer if that was like the chrome colour underneath. Like the Delta livery for this is absolutely gorgeous. St. Killian. A great bunch of lads. Using GFX to this as well. The Eastern livery is nice as well, is it? Ooh. Viper Strike, good to see you, bud. Alright, about to approach Soren, 800 feet to go. We were pretty close. Why isn't this working? There we go. So Soren, 7,000 feet, max 220 knots. So she's going to go into altitude hold mode. Our next drop is going to be down at 3,220 knots is fine, so we can keep her on this. Sweet. So we're now at 7,000 feet. Speed is 220 knots indicated. Perfect. The full approach for Dublin is massive. It's a huge arc. It's rare you'd actually fly the full approach as well. Usually they give you a direct. Usually. But sure, look it. We'll see how we get on here, look. It's our first turn. So this is Soren over to, I think it's Sugad. Sivna, Avrok, Sugad. Yeah. Okay, 220, that's looking good. Now, in terms of landing this machine, flaps 22. Landing distance 6,500 feet. Oh, Jesus. We'll feel this. If I click on this, will this put the speeds in? It does, look. Okie dokie. So we're going to pre-select 3,000. And then our plan is going to be ILS mode, isn't it? Isn't that what we're going for? In a moment. Let's add the approach. Yeah, pizza and then in. Grand. Okay. There we Dublin. So we can give ourselves a bit of a shortcut here. So at the moment it's going to be Sugad. I think we might go pizza after Sugad. What do you reckon? Flight plan. Let's see here now. Clear you. Clear you. And clear you. Okay, start to drop. Vertical speed. Drop at the nose. We go 2,000 feet a minute, reducing our speed. Add some spoilers here as well. Let's see, can we maintain the speed as we drop? So from Sugad, it's going to be a hard left to pizza, and then we'll go ILS mode. If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, we'll just blame someone else. Okie dokie. There's 6,000. Left turn straight to pizza. We can ease off on this descent now. Alright, turning hard left. Just watch the speed as we're descending. We can go for a notch of flaps here as well. Okay, so our transfer switches. So all tanks are on. All crossfeed valves need to be closed. And then 1A and 3A transfer switches closed. Well, that says they're open. One A and 3A. 1A and 3A. They say open. Okay. Let's see what happens. Not to flaps.
Flaps 4.
Okay, over the pizza we go. Speed 200, looking good. 3,000 feet. Alt hold. And we're making our way in towards our initial approach fix for the ILS, which is pizza. Man, all this talk of pizza, I can do some pizza. Alright, lights are looking good. Aircraft, according to this, is set. There's nothing screaming at me. Let's see what happens. Boeing 82. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome in. Okay, you'd Lapmo and then pizza. We're going pizza. 28 left is our runway. In actual fact, we're probably as well to go to friggin' Latmo. What do you reckon? If we just did a direct Latmo. Direct Latmo. And then we'll go ILS mode. She dropped a bit of altitude there, see that? ILS. Easy now. Or should it have been localizer? We'll find out now in a second. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
This will be interesting. ILS deviation warning. Let's see, can it get us back on track? We possibly did this a little bit early. It's more usual to do direct lap mode. Yeah, yeah. Right, we'll see. We'll see. Will she regain this? I reckon it will. This is coming in nicely. why she's saying ILS deviation. Flaps 22.
Flaps 14.
Flaps 14. If I just go localizer and... Oh, here we go. Right. Localizer and glide slope. This is a good sign. We should start descending when we get to this guy. And then we'll get our lateral nav back on.
Flaps 18.
Flaps 18. Drop the gear.
Down.
And now we should be fully established. ILS deviation light has gone out. Three greens, the gear is down. We're on the glide.
Flaps 22.
Alright, flaps 22. The pappies are happy. Isn't the runway a bit to the right? Big Al, good to see you. No, 28 left is what we're going for.
2500.
2500. Up the hill. We're still on the glide. Speed is good. Flaps 22. We could go full flaps.
Flaps 33.
Now, ray descent is good. Auto land. How does one figure this one out? Will it do it itself, I wonder? Flare is armed. This will be interesting. Captain Gaiman, good to see you. Welcome in, buddy. Yeah, the aircraft is capable of an auto land, yeah. Slightly below the glide now. Flare is armed, so that's a promising sign. That good to go. Do we trust it though? We'll see what happens. If we need to, we can get out of it fairly quick. It's slightly off, look, isn't it? Visually. This is definitely a Murphy issue.
500.
It's keeping the glide well. Let's see what happens. There's the decision altitude. Where's she flare? It's leveling out. Power coming back. I haven't touched Anton. Speed is dropping. She should have touched by now. We'll do that ourselves, so. Easy now. We've no reverse thrust, Murph. Easy. goes. Okay, the auto land I'm not sure because it kind of held us at what, 50 feet? Right, we shall roll off. Easy now. Flaps in.
Flaps 14. Flaps 0.
Interesting. Need to do a little bit more learning on it, but in terms of doing an ILS approach, I mean, it wasn't bad. No, airport elevation I put it, well, decision height I put in. Again, you're only using this with the GPS, so it's hard to know exactly what it's missing. Do you know what I mean? But I thought that was quite good. Okay, it was a bit of a hefty landing. What, 300 and odd feet a minute? It was a hefty landing, but like, in terms of the accuracy of getting us in, it did what it needed to do. Defo. Not too shabby. Okay, so after landing checklist. APU needs to be fired on, and then crossfeed valves open, and 1 and 3 unlatch. Alright. 1 and 3 unlatch. APU master switch. Door in transit. Start the APU. And APU is firing up. Nice. Jeez, that was interesting, lads. That was very interesting. Yeah, she was the first wide-body airliner capable of an auto land. And like, to be fair, I only took over the last 20 feet. Because what I saw happening, and maybe this is the way the system was, but what I saw happening, as she leveled out, it kept it, and then it just started killing the speed. So we'd have dropped eventually. I'll read up on a bit more, but that was class. Right, APU is on, that's all grand. Then we go parking. That'll be our next checklists. APU generator breaker. Yeah, they're all fine. They're all fine. Maybe a longer runway? Shouldn't. It was looking a little bit kind of dodge. I also noticed we couldn't engage our reverses with auto throttle on. Thought that was interesting. It's a great plane though, isn't it? It's a great plane. This thing is deadly. I've gone the wrong way. I shouldn't have gone Whiskey 1. Should be grand. We'll say nothing, lads. We'll get away with it. Oh, stay on the runway. If you were in a heli, you wouldn't have had that problem. That's very true. That's very true. I mean, as grand as MK Studios Dublin version 2 is, I would absolutely love either a Pyrig or an iniBuilds for Dublin. I just think it'd be deadly. Come on, iniBuilds, sure. A great bunch of lads, sure. You might do Dublin for the crack. How much is the TriStar? Like 40 bucks on the marketplace. It's an excellent plane. It's a class act, it really, really is. Beautiful. the old engine sounds could be a bit louder though, could they? They're on full pelt. You have it on your shopping list? It's so good. Alright. We got ourselves parked up, and then we're going to ramble over and start checking out our briefing for tonight's flight on Vatsim. Alright. Easy does it. Hello. Park brakes set. Park brakes set. APU is already on. Ground. Menu. APU generator breaker. That's all okay. So if we go to open that and then bring down these engines. All right. Really, GSX? We're parked. It doesn't think we're parked. Uh-oh. Right, anyway, aircraft, that's grand. Ground. Right, go ahead, give us a GPU. But how do you get a jet? That'll hardly reach, will it? No. Stairs. There we go. Easy jet. Easy jet. What's going on there? The horror. The shock and horror. Right. Not cheap, but a whole lot of playing for money. It really is. Really, really is. With some update 5, does landing feel any better? I haven't really noticed it yet, Al. I haven't noticed it. Right, lads, that was a pretty good blast figuring out the autopilot and some nav. So that wasn't bad, right? I enjoyed that one. So I'm one step closer to taking this for a spin on Vatsim. What a machine. What an absolutely deadly machine. Fair play to iniBuilds. They did a great job here, didn't they? Absolutely class act. Right, so we're going to shut this one down. And now we're going to move over to tonight's Vatsim flight, right? So, plug that guy in. We'll end the flight. And we will close the sim and give it a restart. So we'll get rid of all that stuff, and in the meantime, I have to grab all my stuff for tonight's flight. Right, so that's the cat's bed. Put that away. Oh, she's not in here for the moment. So, right, for this mission, I need one of these. We need one of those. And put that in there. We also need one of these. And one of them. This is all the wind control gear. So we get our flight set up for flying on Vatsim. So we go with all the wind control gear because it's absolutely deadly, right? So this guy lives here. Is that going the right way? Absolute Egypt Murphy. Right, hang on. Tighten this fella. Yeah, it's not cheap, but you do get a whole lot of plane, man. Absolute deadly, right? Absolute deadly. So first little trick here is going to be all the hardware. and I plug everything in. I'm not gonna. Oh, I saw that, Al. Yeah, thanks for that, buddy. I do have the Rosefire overhead. Thanks to it was Mech DIY who sent that out to me. But I don't think I'll use it tonight because I've nowhere to put it. I've no VESA mount for on top of my screen. Do you know what I mean? This is fairly tight now. Get in there, you devil. Right. So, right, this fella, in you go. Lovely. Drop him down. Lovely. And he sits kind of roughly there, isn't it? Perfecto. Next, we need one of these. I need one of those. So this guy comes in next. He just kind of goes in there. Make sure we don't catch any wires because that'd be hilarious. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Right. He goes there. Lovely hurdling. We'll come over here now. And bring in the microphone with us. You need a bigger room. Wouldn't it be grand if like everything could stay in place all the time? But to be honest, to be fair, like it only takes about 5 minutes to set all this gear up. Which isn't bad. Ow. So need one of these. Yes. You live there. You live here. So this is my MCDU. Right? That was a controller. I dropped my controller. And then the piece of resistance, which is the wing control throttle unit. This thing is deadly. The gear is deadly. Quiet. Put you in so you don't fall over. Oh. As tight as tight can be. Move into the kitchen, says Dazza. Could you imagine? Right, that's pretty good there. And before we know it, lads, we're going to have a full A320 experience ready to go. How does dust form? Jesus. Right, and then my last little jigsaw piece is going to be this. So you come forward, go there, and then you go there. Right. Boop. We heard a sound. Right, he goes there. Wing Control Simac Pro. Launch that. And now, friends, we start plugging in everything, and hopefully it works and we don't explode. Here's one. And here's two. Go. And then we've number three. Bloop. And then we've number three. And he's in. And that just goes in there somewhere. Right. That's everything set up. So in here we want to go and make sure it's on that, which it is. We're finished with the manuals for today. And do you want to save changes? No. And we'll go back into the sim. Excellent. So what I've just set up here in the background, we have our Ursa Minor, right? Which isn't exactly sitting right. Jesus. Not as I press that button, lads. Don't be alarmed. Let's see here now. Hang on now. Hold. What you need now that you're full time is a house just for your creative space. Could you imagine? Right, that's better. You guys go there. You go here. It's a little bit forward than I usually use it, but that's okay. You're okay. You're not going anywhere. And then we take this cover off, remove before flight, because that covers our MCDU. And I think that's it. That's the whole system set up. Isn't it rather cool? Will I show you? If we do one of these. Do one of those. Stop this guy for the minute. Let's see if this works. Right. Hopefully this will work on the screen. There it is. So here's a camera inside a camera. So basically what I've done, we've gone with the Ursa Minor. That's our control, right? And as we move along, we have the our MCP. There's the Boeing one, but we're using the Airbus one for this, right? Then we have our throttle. Ooh and ah. And then we have our MacDo, or MCDU. So this is everything that's kind of in situ. But it does allow for like an absolutely savage experience when you're flying. Everything's just connected. It's just absolutely friggin' deadly. So it is. Do you know what I mean? All you need is a cockpit now. Well, it's gas because like I have that other gadget. I have the overhead as well. You know, so I need to get that one sorted at some stage. And now we should have me map. Which we do. Right, so as the sim is loading, well, let's go out and check to see what we're doing this evening, shall we? So, let's see. Go to group flight. Let this load. Okay. So, our next flight is going to be Tromsø over to Svalbard. Svalbard, it sits on the remote Norwegian of Svalbard, roughly 650 miles from the North Pole. Ooh! It's one of the few airports in the world where the runway is built on permafrost. So the scenery we're using, I have simulations for Tromsø, so I'll have to disable the default sim because I think it's handcrafted. And I have iniBuilds Svalbard, which is an awesome scenery. So that's what it is looking like. There is our sim brief plan. We'll go ahead and blast this one in. Next up, we want to have a look at Ventusky. And we're going to have a look at the Vatsim radar. What's your opinion on the Airbus Edition Flight Stick? Scarface is brilliant. For the price, 70 quid, man. It's excellent. Got your brother coming over Saturday to help you start the frame build. More Scalarchy components. Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay, so this flight is happening tonight at 8 o'clock Irish time or 1900 Zulu. And we're up this neck of the woods, aren't we? Tromsø. Where's Tromsø? There's Tromsø. So the temperatures up here tonight are going to be cold, as you can imagine. It's from 0 to 3 degrees. And then we're heading to Svalbard. Where's Svalbard? Svalbard. That looks like it. That's definitely not it. Iceland. That's not right. Svalbard? Is that right? It is, isn't it? Svalbard. Tromsø and Oslo. That's not right. Svalbard is over here somewhere. Hammerfest. Am I raving? EN Sky Vector. ENTC over to ENSB. Okay, so she was right the first time. Or the second time. So Svalbard come this evening. Into there for the moment. And into my library. Now we're saying Tromsø, isn't it? Was Tromsø not ENTC, a handcrafted airport? No? Okay. Don't crash sim. Right, H320, IAE. And we want to go to Tromsø. Those. I'm doing one of these. ENTC. ENTC. Tromsø. Okay. Let's go to gate. Gate 20. You're not talking about the supermarket? Okay, live time, live weather. Let's load in. Did a flight yesterday for Volanta. Oh, nice. Darkstar, nice. Chris, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, so we're going from Tromsø to Svalbard. And we'll get everything loaded. Jay's look at the weather. So let's see what happens as we get ourselves situated. Okay. Now all my hardware is off, but let's test it. Why am I missing so much stuff in here? Is that normal to be missing all that? I have no idea. I have no idea. Right, how's the airport looking? It's looking alright, isn't it? You can get to it from the EFB. Who's your man watching us? I don't know. Okay, let's get some power on in here. Lights, camera, and action. Okay, so configuration, is it? Airline options. For the Phoenix, is it? AOC menu. Oh. Configuration. No, I don't see it. Harold, good to see you, buddy. I don't see aircraft configuration. Oh, EFB. Jesus, then that was painful. EFB. We're looking for aircraft configuration, isn't it? Ah. What's DDRMI? Ah, yeah, turn on all this stuff. There you go. Why was that all off? Okay, right, we're laughing now. Basically 5 flares on a tight budget. Yeah, we need to change all that. Jesus, we hadn't a penny when we started off. Right, all the hardware is working. That's what I like to see. Lovely. So, back into our planning here, lads, briefly. So, the wedge, by the time we get up to Svalbard, it's going to be minus 12 degrees, be the Janie. Cloud cover tonight. Not too bad. Is there a precip, though? Okay, there's definitely snow in the area, but we shouldn't get hit with it. So, wind. Why does it do that? So the winds are relatively calm at Tromsø. Winds are blowing from the south, kind of west, with no major changes, right? And by the time we get up the road, winds are coming in from the north. About 3 knots. Alright, so it's calm. Our cruise, little bit of a crosswind. Is that right? Yeah, that is right. This is going to be so strange. There's like almost no winds aloft up there. Bit of crack up here, all right. And we're well above that jet stream, so okay, bit of a crosswind. Shouldn't be much of an issue. Weather's nice. It's cold. Cold as balls. You want your winteries on this one. No ATC there at the moment. That's okay. Alright, let us look at our flight plan. So we are Firefly 235, Airbus A320, IAE configuration. And block time 2 hours. That's all looking good. Go ahead and generate. It's unlikely we'll have ATC up here tonight. But sure, we'll see what the crack is. Right, cruise 350, cost index 7. Bit of a crosswind on the way. Alright, that's good to me. Let's go into Navigraph. Import the flight from SimBrief. And let's go in and have a look at this flight for this evening. So, our departure plan is runway 18. We're on the Lomvi 6 Bravo departure. So let's have a look at the airport briefly. Small airport, hotspots, wind shear, tailwind. That's all okay. So we're planning runway 18 departure. Takeoff runway 18. Okay, they're all minimum heights and all the jazz. Let's have a look at our SID. So, max 204 knots. So it's a slow departure. Watch your speed on that one, and then we're out. Surveillance service, contact Tromsø approach when instructed. Okay. SID requires minimum climb gradient of. That's okay. Okay. Airport elevation 32 feet. What's the length? 8,000 feet. Right, we're laughing. Okay, that's all fairly straightforward. What about our approach up the road? So we're expecting runway 9er. Out over the deep dark blue, look. Jesus. And then we're in. So we're saying runway 9er. So there's no arrivals, but we do have an approach. ILS runway 9er. Transition. Where are we coming in from? InPar. InPar. Or we go further up to Lalid. Or Gelfo. We'll go up to Lallet. Okay. So we're going to plan an ILS approach, and our approach fix is going to be Lallet. Max 230 knots. That's grand. Missed approach. Refer to approach or missed approach above. Right. So, missed approach. Turn left to intercept and proceed on a 307 course from the NDB. At 11 miles, turn left. Enter hold climbing 4,600. Don't turn before passing your MAP. That's confusing. Let's try it again. Missed approach. Turn left to intercept and proceed on 307. Left. Intercept. 307. And proceed at D11. So we're up to here now. Then we turn left back to the non-directional beacon, or NDB. Enter holding climbing 4,600. Okay, so it makes sense. Missed approach, turn left, go out here, and as you climb, come back in, and then you circle, and you're actually holding here at 4,600. Would that be right? It's an interesting one for sure, isn't it? Not overly worried. Usually they drag you out miles and miles, you know. That's how it read to me. Yeah. So it looks as if missed approach, left turn to 307, climbing, go on out to D11 at LB. So it's this marker here. And then as you're climbing to 4,600, proceed back in towards the NDB and hold. Alright. And then to give us another shot, we'll head back out the road and back in. So I was landing the Faroe Islands. We could. Okay, I'm happy enough with that. I'm happy enough with the weather briefing. Let's have a quick look at this airport for our departure. Okay. Jay's beautiful part of the world, this, isn't it? Look at that bridge, look. It's quite a small airport. Okay, I'm happy there. Next test, make sure that all this is working. V-Pilot. And V-Pilot. My eyes are blind. I've a spot in my eyes I can't see. Jesus. Right. That's doing his stuff. This is doing his stuff. Model matching. There's a good chance, we'll see, but there's a good chance we'll stay in tension tonight if we don't have ATC. I'm in. Okay, we're connected anyway. We're Billy no mates, but that's okay. Let's have a look. We'll appear here now in a moment. Does the spot move? No, it's like I looked into lights or something for too long. Don't know what it is. If I close my eyes, there's a big blind spot. So yeah. It'll be grand. Should be totally grand. Right, so we are on Vatsim. There we are, connected. Lovely hurdling. Okay. Let's head to our destination. Up to Svalbard. ENSB. ENSB Svalbard. And this is from iniBuilds as well. It's a class little scenery. Jay's a small little spot, this, isn't it? Don't close your eyes then. How are we going to fit in here? I don't know. Let's see what happens. There's a plane.
Hello there.
Chris Van Halen, good to see you. I've gone blind. I can't see. Right. In we go. Lovely. Oh yeah, this is a cool airport. Look at this. Isn't that deadly? Don't get to say good afternoon very often. Chris, it's good to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a great day. Ah, Jesus, brilliant. Go on, iniBuilds. Look at that. Right. Fan-friggin-tastic. Skodas. Oh, yeah, look at this is a beautiful little airport. I remember checking this one out ages ago. It's real nice. Look at that, man. Wait, can we not go in? We can. International Polar Bear Day is on the 27th of February. You've heard it there first. Look at them all queuing up. We want to fly with Firefly Air. Nice. Not really, Roy, no. Rarely. Duty, we just finished with the TriStar. If you want to go back on the video or on the stream, it'll be there for you. We covered a fair bit. And this is going to be interesting. So we have a good sizable runway. High ground will be on our right hand side coming in here. Look at the detailing. Jesus, look at all the well, it's radar, but like, is it kind of observatory stuff? Jesus, there's a polar bear. No messing there. Alright, so as we fly in and around, high ground is to our right, hence they want us to turn left. But we need to be careful, so it's good that we're seeing this in daylight. What's it going to look like tonight? Well, the sun, I don't think the sun goes down that much here. Yeah, zero darkness, so like at 10 o'clock tonight, that's how it's going to look. Isn't that deadly? That's the middle of the night and look, the sun is still out. It's going to be fantastic. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, lads. So if we miss our approach, it's swing out here over the harbour and we go on out this way, climbing to 4,600 feet, all the way out by about 11 miles, and then we come back in and hold. This is cool looking. I am looking forward to flying in here, lads. This is deadly looking, isn't it? Transitioning to work. I'll be back tonight. Sumner, have a good one, buddy. Yeah. No, I'll have
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
I'll have the I'll have the lovely man this afternoon, a mid-afternoon nap. That'll sort out my eyesight, I would say. It looks awesome, doesn't it? Fornax, 40 months, buddy. Thank you very, very much indeed. Cheers, man. You're very kind, sir. I am looking forward to this flight. This is going to be dead. This is going to be class, lads, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, this is from this scenery. It's from iniBuilds. It's from iniBuilds. Fly Winnebago, good to see you, bud. Happy Thursday. Right. I'm relatively happy with what we're doing now later on. So, departing Tromsø, relatively calm weather, 2 or 3 knots. Bit of a crosswind on the flight, nothing to write home about. And then we're laughing. This is some nice reading, by the way. You'll have to put it in over on Discord, Fornax. Yeah, well, we can't do links on the stream, I'm afraid. Right, lads, that is it for the Zavo. We're back in a couple of hours and we'll do this flight. We're planning to do it on Vatsim. If there's no coverage, I might do say intentions. Because at least we'll get full ATC along the way. We'll see how we go. But we covered a nice bit with the TriStar. We did a flight from Shannon up to Dublin. Basic stuff just with the GPS. But it was to get us used to using the autopilot, right? So we're back at 1900 Zulu in about 5 hours time, and we're taking the A320 from Tromsø up to Svalbard. This shall be fun. So I want to thank you all so very much indeed for tuning in, keeping us company, and yeah, we're back in a couple of hours, so hopefully we get to see you then. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you in a few hours. Good luck. She looks like your man. Oh no, it's a him. Oh Jesus. It looked like your one, Katie Taylor. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a great fight, and then I boxed the head off him. Brilliant. Did you see what happened to Matty Lonesome? Oh, that was brilliant. Did you see him? Maddie, are you okay? Are you okay, Maddie? Oh, Jesus. Oh. Fancy pedals. Fancy pedals.
No. This is. Listen. It's a hurricane. It's a hurricane. Oh, power off. Bit of right rudder. Bleed that speed.
Oh, he's
Oh, look at